Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Umineko Chapter 3. We've just finished the ritual transfer ceremony, and now Ava is officially Golden Witch Beatrice. I mean, if they actually carry this through, that'd be kind of interesting. Would Chapter 4 then have Ava, the Golden Witch, as the Eternal Witch Beatrice? That would be kind of cool, right? If, like, we transfer into yet another Golden Witch. That would kind of be an interesting concept, because then they're, like, trapped in an infinite loop where either they're dying endlessly and repeating things while Battler's around, or Ava's the Golden Witch. That would be kind of cool, right? I was kind of thinking that last night. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna do that. That'd be a twist ending. You reach a sudden ending earlier in Chapter 3, and they actually pull through with it, and now you're like dealing with Ava as the Golden Witch, and you have to try to find a way that results in not everyone dying, but also Beatrice not just getting a new body and a new personality. Maybe that's where they're going. Either way, Battler's completely overwhelmed, and I guess we'll see where we go from here. So what's all this? Of course, I'm not gonna swallow this story, but what in the world does it mean? Aunt Ava's the new Beatrice? Are you saying she turned into a witch? The hell? I was also surprised. To think someone would be able to solve the riddle, not one person, but two, actually. However, that is the rule. I must follow it and pass on the position of Golden Witch and my name. It's hardly something to be surprised about. At the very beginning, you wrote that rule in a letter and announced it. Eva-sama was simply the first to be successful. Are they expecting more people to be successful? That's all there is to say. Thanks, Ronovan. Virgilia, are you there? Yes, here I am. What does this farce mean? Even if this depiction of strange witches showing up one after another is some of her bullshit. Isn't this almost like Aunt Ava turned into a witch? Calm yourself. She simply received the title of Endless Witch and might call herself that in the future. If Crow solved it, would we have a younger Crow in a dress? Maybe we would. This succession ceremony is certainly nothing more than an act to promote that child's explanation. Don't fall for the same move over and over again. The grand ceremony was all phony. Yeah, it's at least a fact Aunt Ava solved the riddle of the epitaph. And at the same time, that means she succeeded the Ashiromiya family headship. And after getting 10 tons of gold, she might as well call herself the Golden Witch. Is that it? It's complicated as ever, isn't it? He's a boorish human and unable to comprehend the grandeur of this ceremony. I mean, I'm struggling to comprehend the grandeur because the music's deafening, but other than that, you know, it's okay. Oh well. Being unable to read between the lines is what makes you human. I pity you, but I don't blame you. Don't look at me like you feel sorry for me. Still, for the time being, there's something I need to check. And that's regarding this younger version of Aunt Eva. In other words, the definition of this new Beatrice. What's that? Even if I tell you that you'll persist in your disbelief in magic and witches, correct? There's nothing in particular for me to explain. Feel free to believe in whatever seems to be you. To be to you. But it seems to be to me. How do I interpret this? For now, it may not hurt to view it as a visualization of a separate entity inside Ushiromiya Eva. Yeah, of course, you can't blindly accept that answer, but it's probably a reasonable theory to hold for the time being. Why don't we wait until someone else interacts with Eva? That seems like a good premise. Just say, I don't know what it is yet, I'm gonna keep watching. In other words, I should think of Aunt Eva and her is the same person, right? I don't like where it's going. In any case, from now on my name's no longer Beatrice. I passed it on to Ushiromiya Eva. The you that's in that universe has. This Beatrice is still Beatrice the Endless. It means I'm nameless. Hello, don't you have some name that'd be fitting for me? I'll accept your recommendation. A name that's fine, full of elegance, a little cute too if you can. Just Beato is good enough for you. There's probably a big enough difference between Beato and Beatrice to keep people from being confused. The same old Beato, is it? Would you prefer we call you Bitchatrice? It's like a cockatrice, but it's Beatrice, and she's a complete bitch. It doesn't feel wrong, but it's boring for some reason. Howdy, Beatrice. Beatrice. Good sip, good sip. They say the temperature of a black tea and a woman's heart are difficult to gauge in any era. At any rate, stay calm from this point on. The fact that we can tell her and Eva apart works to our advantage compared to the time that child was still Beatrice, right? True, it was confusing when it was Beatrice and Beatrice giving narrative. Alright, giving a narration. And that's exactly why I like it less. What's she thinking at Beato? Over there, the witches formed a long line to bless Aunt Eva, who had the figure of her younger days and now possessed the name Beatrice. It was like a witch's coronation. The countless gold butterflies flapped their wings, directing this fantastical gold sparkling space. They were all praising her. And as I stared from the distance, I looked at the newly born Beatrice, who had a slightly embarrassed smile on her face. Her expression, which was lost and confused at first, seemed to be full of happiness she was finally starting to recognize. The expression didn't look at all like someone laughing insanely while standing before the gold. There was just the innocence of a person basking in their own joy, and as a person who denied the existence of witches, I couldn't view this witch succession ceremony with a joyful expression and accept her. However, when I looked at that innocent smile, I felt like I wanted to offer my blessings just for the moment. It's always beautiful when strong efforts bear fruits and are rewarded. Aunt Eva, who'd always yearned to succeed the headship and had worked hard since her youth without reward, had spectacularly taken a hold of the chance given to her by the riddle of the epitaph and finally gained that position. How divine is the smile of a person whose childhood dreams have been granted. I definitely won't accept witches, but Battler put his hands together, making a small sound. It didn't reach her ears, but it did bless her. Congratulations, Eva-san. You spectacularly solved the riddle of the epitaph before anyone else. It's your victory without complaint. I won't accept all that about the Golden Witch and so on, but I will accept you as the new head of the Ashiromiya family, and I'll celebrate that sincerely. As though urged on by Battler's applause, Beato also clapped. It was a slightly odd scene, Battler and Beato opposing each other, standing side by side, applauding the same person. I'm not applauding for Lee. I'm clapping for all of Aunt Eva's success until now. As am I. I offer my sincere applause as a blessing to Eva, who spectacularly solved the epitaph. I don't like applauding with you, but I've decided I won't worry about it now. Divine punishment won't follow me because I clap with you every once in a while. Not bad, every once in a while. Still, it's fun to applaud. Even though it was Eva who was successful and not me. For some reason, I'm starting to feel happy too. And that's because blessing someone means the same thing as sympathizing and sharing with them. Beatrice doesn't have any sympathy for people. Get out of here. Like, her voice is so damn quiet. Then I've even shared this irrational happy feeling with you. Can I just, like... The voices are still quiet. Since we are a pair of enemies trying to make each other surrender, it's an odd experience. Like, seriously? The voices in this scene are so absurdly quiet that I have to, like, play with the volume settings to hear anything. It's an odd experience, for sure, Beato. Well, for now, let's just have a truce and clap, alright? Beato laughed impishly, playing around and applauding even louder, as though eagerly trying not to lose to Battler as she clapped. Battler went along with her and clapped louder. When he did, as though some ceremony had ended, everyone applauded and highly praised the reborn Beatrice. It was just as though Battler's and Beato's applause had been the final thing needed for her succession. Alright. Do we end in a scene or two, or are we still going? Is this going to be like a really short chapter? I just don't know what's happening now. It like ended so abruptly that I'm not sure where we're at now. Okay, it's 10:30. Rosa returned to the lobby. It was still her turn to rest, but her expression made it look as though she couldn't sleep deeply with all this tension. Take it easy and lie down. Keep this up and you'll have it pretty rough later on. Thanks for the concern. There's 4 of them, so they can actually sleep, what? They could do 6-hour shifts if they wanted to. Or they could do 18-hour shifts where they're sleeping 6 hours a day. I just couldn't fall asleep. I already took a shower. I'm good for now. The next person can rest. Well, you two, Kirie-san? Rudolph-san? What will we do, Rudolph-san? Shall we rest? You can rest. I'll stay awake. The only manly thing I can do right now. But then I'll stay awake. Staying awake with my husband is the only womanly thing I can do right now.
本当に仲のおよろしいこ
You
と
two
で。
truly are close. Oh,
夏日さんこそね。
you should talk.
エヴァと秀吉さんはぐっすりみたいじゃないか。
It seems Ava and Hideyoshi wrote cold.
やはりローザと違い、年には勝てんね。
It appears that unlike Rosa, they can't fight against their age. Although in response to those words, the door to the hall clunked open. Ava and Hideyoshi returned from the guest room.
余計なお世話よ。
That's none of your business.
あらローザ、もう休んでなくていいの？
Oh, Rosa, are you sure you don't need to rest yet?
姉さんこそ
You should talk,
無理しないで
Nesa.
休んでたら。
Why don't take it easy and sleep?
なんだか寝つけなくてね。
I just can't get to
シ
sleep.
ャワーを浴びたら眠気が覚めちゃったわ。
Taking a shower shook my drowsiness
ルドル
off.
フたち、よかったら休んでいいわよ。
Rudolph, Kirei-san, you can rest if you want.
おう、サンキュー。
Sure,
今は
thanks.
気持ちだけでいいぜ。
Well, for now, let's say I appreciate the sentiment.
兄貴たち、先に休んだらどうだ？
Why don't you go first, Aniki?
ありがたいね。
Oh, kind
だ
of
が
you.
先に休むわけにはいかん。
But I cannot rest first. All of these people are too paranoid about someone like stealing the gold or some shit, or just letting them get killed, that they're just like, I can't sleep.
それくらいしか長男らしいことができない
It's
んだ
the most I can do as the oldest brother right now. Yeah, my plan would be just like, here's the plan. Kirei, you go to sleep. Hand on my lap. Good night. Oh, I'm assuming I'm Rudolph, because Rudolph's like the first person to reject going to sleep, by the way. You do that, and you're like, look, everyone's being stereotypical gender. You're safe in a room with everyone else. It's all good. And you do that. Just sleep in this room. You don't need to sleep in another room.
私たちは最後まで起きていますので、ご心配なく。
Don't worry. The two of us will stay awake until the very end.
それよりエヴァ姉さん、
More importantly,
大丈夫？
Eva-san. Are you
少し
okay?
顔色が悪いわ。
You look a little pale.
そういや、そうやな。
Come to think of it, you're right.
ん
Oh?
ちょいと熱っぽいで。
Could it be a bit of a fever? Hideyoshi put his hand up against Ava's forehead. It seemed Ava wasn't feeling her best.
言わんこっちゃね
It goes without
え。年
saying.
のくせに生活リズムを崩すからだぜ。
That's what happens when you break your sleep cycle at your
風
age.
邪か？
Is it a cold?
夏日、
Did
上野南條先生を呼んできてくれんかね。
you call the doctor down?
はい。
Yes.
いいわ、そこまで大げさじゃない。
Fine. You don't need to make such a fuss over it.
常備薬は持ってるから大丈夫よ。
I have medicine. I'll be fine.
疲れるとすぐ熱に出るの。
I tend to get fevers when I'm tired.
心配しないで。
Don't worry.
姉さん、無理しないで。
Son, take it easy, okay?
ありがとう。
Thanks.
私抜きで兄弟が集まってると、私の陰口でも言われてるような気がしちゃ
The
って、ね。
siblings gathered without me around. I get the feeling everyone would start talking behind my back.
昔からの被害妄想なの
It's。a persecution complex from long ago.
ごめんね。
Sorry, MK.
私は何も言わないわよ。
Well, I won't say anything.
姉さんのいないところで、姉さんの嫌な話なんて。
As if I would say bad things about you behind your back, Nason. Subtly implying... She's subtly saying she's not gonna say anything, by the way. That's what this is about. She's like, I don't trust... Ava's like, I don't trust you. And she's like, I wouldn't say shit.
どうしたの？
Rosa's like, I wouldn't say shit. And Ava's like, I don't trust you. What is it?
姉さん、さっきから変よ。
Nason, you've been acting strange for a while.
もう少し休んだら？
Didn't you get a little rest now?
そうね。
Oh, you're right.
3月までの金策を考えたら、頭痛がひどくなってきちゃったわ。
Just thinking about raising money by March makes my headache hurt even worse.
それは良くないわね。
This isn't good.
休んでて。
Rest.
姉さんの頭痛がひどくならないよう、私も実調してるわ。
I'll hold back too, so your headache doesn't get worse.
私だって頭痛、さっきから辛いし。
I've had a bad headache myself for a while now.
ありがとう。
Thank
じ
you.
ゃあ私、お言葉に甘えて、もう少し休ませてもらうわね。
I'll take those words to heart and rest for a while.
どうしたんや、エヴァ。
What is it,
急に
Ava?
へそ曲げて。
She's so angry all of a sudden.
すまんな。わしら、もうちょい休ませてもらうわ。
Sorry, please let us rest a little
すま
longer.
んな。すまんな。
Sorry. After apologizing several times as though praying, Hideyoshi followed Ava out of the lobby. Out of the lobby they go. Okay.
空気が悪いな。
I don't like this
どう
atmosphere.
にもギスギスしている。
It's so strained.
無理もない。
That's no
早
surprise.
朝に殺人事件。
There was a murder early this morning, and not just one,
それ
six.
からずっとここで銃を抱きながら缶詰ですもの。
Since then, we've been eating canned food and carrying guns
ストレ
around.
スが溜まって当然ね。
It's natural we'd start to build up stress.
上の子たちもだいぶストレスが溜まってるんじゃないかしら。
Wonder if the kids up there are building up stress
マリ
too.
アが心配だわ。
I'm worried about Maria. Honestly, the kids haven't done jack fucking shit for the last, how many hours has it been? All day? Basically, the kids haven't existed. Which is kind of what I was thinking. If the all the adults were alive, the kids would take second seat. Unless people started
こういう
dying.
時は感触を起こしやすいの。
I'm worried about Maria. She tends to throw tantrums at times like these. At that moment, they heard the sound of wild footsteps coming from the second floor. The guest house wasn't a cheap building, so they wouldn't normally even hear the sound of footsteps. It was like the sound of someone stamping their feet in frustration. Then an instant later, accompanied by what seemed to be the sound of her running out into the second floor hallway, they could hear Maria calling, "Ooh, ooh," all over again. Over and over again, sounding displeased. Rosa grabbed her head, her hair flying, and she voicelessly moaned in anguish. The adults conscientiously turned their backs to her, pretending not to notice. The noisy clamor came down from the second floor and flew into the lobby. It was Maria, sobbing along with the other children and Nanjo. In other words, they'd all come downstairs because of Maria's tantrum. Rosa couldn't hide her dizziness at this new annoyance, and her daughter was bringing to everyone.
ごめんローザおばさん。
Sorry, Rosa.
私たちもなだめたんだけど、どうしても
I
聞いて
tried
く
to
れな
call
く
her,
て。
but she wouldn't listen. What's she crying about this time?
What どうしたのマリア。
What is it, Maria?
少し静かにしなさい。
Could you be a little bit more quiet?
みんな見てるわよ。
Everyone is watching.
例のバラ庭園のマリアのバラ。
It's that rose of hers from the rose
あ
garden.
れが急に心配だと言い出して。
She suddenly started saying she was worried about it.
寝ぼけたみたいなんです。
I think she's half asleep.
急にガバッと起き出して、バラが心配だ、
She
バ
suddenly
ラが
woke
心
up
配だって
and
言
she
い出し
started
て。
going on and on about how worried she was about that rose.
マリアちゃん、落ち着いて。
Maria-chan, please calm down.
それは夢なんだよ。
It's just a dream. That rose belonged to Beatrice. If I don't take care of it, Beatrice is gonna get mad. Might get snapped off again. And here we go. Oh boy. Oh boy.
だから少し静かにしなさいって
And
言
I'm
ってる
telling
で
you
し
to
ょ。
quiet down a bit, okay? It's a fucking rose you had a dream about. Like, calm the fuck down, bro. The sudden rise in the tone of Rosa's voice surprised the children. But Maria's crying just grew louder and her tantrum just grew fiercer.
ローザさん、
Rosa-san
子供を頭ごなしに叱ってはいけませんぞ。
mustn't scold the child so unsparingly. It's like we're in a life and death situation. 6 people are dead and we're trapped in this house, and you're screaming about a fucking rose. Jesus fucking Christ. Please go out there and get your ass killed so I don't have to deal with you.
こ
God
の時
damn.
は温かい牛乳などを与えると良いものです。
At times like this, it's best to give them some warm milk or something. Great, I'll just go to the house by myself, get killed, and oh wait, that's a terrible idea.
ここにあるかね。
That's all she knows, right? She doesn't know. There's been no announcement made, so it's still death for all she knows. Is there any here?
さっき朝食代わりに出した牛乳
The
で
milk we
空っ
had
ぽ
for
です。
breakfast is empty now.
誰か子供用の鎮静剤とか持ってるか。
Does anyone have a sedative to use on
ほら
kids?
銀の粒みてえなやつとか
You know those silver pill things?
持ってるわよ。
I have some.
ああ、今探して飲ませるから。
I'll search for some and give them to her. Without hiding her displeasure, Rosa grabbed the handbag that had been set on the sofa and fished around for some medicine. Yeah, it's like she's like thinking I was literally like half a second away from being murdered by my sister so she can keep all the gold to herself, and I have this dumb child screaming about their Rose in a life or death situation. Like, Jesus Christ, people. Have some sense of scope. Like, okay, this is life and death. Shut the fuck up about the Rose. Nobody cares. It seems she had brought some child-use sedatives for Maria's tantrums. She found it and opened the bottle, but it must have been empty. Irritated, she shook the bottle several times, but that didn't change the fact nothing was in there. As she did that, Maria's crying grew even more intense. Okay, just ignore her and be like, alright, I got better shit to do. At that time, Eva was lying on her bed, covered by the bedding. Hideyoshi returned from the washroom, folding a handkerchief soaked in water.
こら、ずいぶんひどい熱や。
This is one nasty fever.
きっと、親族会議のどっけにやられてもうたんやな。
I'll bet it's the poisonous air at the family conference that got you.
今はもう、他の親族たちのことは全部忘れるんや。
For now, you can forget all about the other relatives. Okay? As Hideyoshi spoke to her kindly, he set the soaked handkerchief on Ava's burning forehead. Does Ava die now because she has to be resurrected at the end of the last twilight? Is that what happens? That would be curious. Ava rested her own hand on top of his.
あなたの手
Your hand
ひんやりして気持
is
ちい
nice
い
and cool.
わしの手が気持ちいいようじゃ、だいぶ熱が出とるな。
My hand feels nice. Your fever's gotta be
安
pretty
心
bad.
せ。すぐに薬が効いてくるわ。
Don't worry, the medicine will kick in soon.
それにな、わしの手は魔法の手なんや。
Plus my hand? Well, it's a magic
こう
hand.
してエヴァの額に手を当てとるとな、
I just put it against your forehead
ど
like
んな
this,
熱も立ちどころに治ってし
and
まうん
any
や。
fever will melt right away.
そうね
You're
あ
right.
なたの手で私の熱が引かなかったことは一度もないものね
Your hand always makes my fevers fade.
そうや。わしの手があれば医者いらずやで。
No need for a doctor when you've got my hand. Yeah, is it also used for curing hysteria?
安心して目をつむるんや。
Don't worry. Close your eyes.
すぐにわしの魔法でぐんぐん熱が下がるか
My
らな。
magic will make the fever fade away.
知ってる
I,
あ
I,
なたの魔法感じるもの
I can feel your magic. Hideyoshi was about to say it was a placebo effect, but he stopped. If Eva said she could feel magic coming from his hand, then that's fine for now.
魔法って本当にあるのかしら
I wonder if magic really
お
exists.
お、あるで。
It does, it
信じる
does.
者にしかわからへんけどな。
Only those who believe can tell,
そ
though.
ういう魔法は案外世の
There's
中に
actually
た
a
くさん
lot of
ある
magic
もんや
like that out in the world.
魔法が実在するなら
It exists.
やっぱり魔女も
I wonder if witches actually exist too.
ん森の魔女ベアトリーチェのことかいな。
Oh, you mean that witch of the forest,
信
Beatrice?
じる者にはおるやろな。
It probably exists for those who
神
believe,
様と同じや。
just like the
信
gods.
心深い人の前にしか姿は現さんのや。
They only show themselves in front of those with strong faith.
私もね
I did it too, you know,
昔魔法が使えたの
long ago. I was able to use magic.
ほう、ほんまかいな。
Oh, really?
じゃあお前も魔女やったんやな。
And you were a witch too?
私がね絶対に叶えたい夢があって
I had dreams, ones I wanted to come true no
そ
matter
れを
what.
強く願って努力するとそれは必ず叶ったの
After wishing strongly and trying hard, they always came true without fail.
私はその魔法でいつも成績は一番だったし生徒会長にだってなったし入りたい大学にも実力で入れたし
My grades were always the best. I even became student council president and worked hard to get into the university I
い
wanted.
つだってど
Everything
ん
I
な願
wished
い
for
だっ
was
て叶え
granted.
てきたわ
そうやな。
That's right.
お前の魔法はいつだって大したもんや。
Your magic was always a thing to be
お
reckoned with.
前は確かに魔女
You're
や。
definitely a
そし
witch.
て誰にも負けん努力家や。
And you work harder than anyone.
わしゃよ
I know all
知っ
about
と
it.
るで。
私ね、
He knows all about it.
子
When?
供の頃からずっと心の中にもう一人の自分がいて、
Okay.
いつ
When I
も
was a kid.
私を励ましてくれたの。
The whole time, there was another inside myself who always supported me.
そしてその自分は魔女だったわ。
And that other self was a witch.
森の魔女ベアトリーチェなんて信じなかった。
I didn't believe in Beatrice, the witch of the
も
forest.
し六軒島に魔女がいるとしたら、それは私の心の中の魔女のことだってずっと信じてきた。
I always believed that if a witch of Rockinjima did exist, it was the witch in my heart.
その魔女の自分に私はすごい感謝してる。
I was so grateful to that witch inside
あなたに
myself.
出会わせてくれてよかったなっ
I was always grateful
ていつも感謝してる。
that she brought me to you.
病気の時のお前はいつも気弱すぎや。
He's just like, yeah, you get too timid when you're sick. Too timid.
今は何も言わんで、
Don't say anything for now.
熱が下がるまでずーっとこうしてるからな。
I'll stay like this the whole time until your fever's gone down. Yeah.
絶対に手
Don't take your hand
を
away.
離さないでね。
No matter what.
なんだか私
Somehow.
自分が自分でなくなるような気がして、
I feel like I'm becoming something that isn't
さ
myself.
っきから怖い
Been scared for a
の。
while
私の
now.
中の魔女が
I get the feeling that the witch
ベア
inside
トリ
me
ーチェに触発されてどんどん強くなるような気がして、
he was provoked by Beatrice. She's growing stronger and
なんだ
stronger.
か私を飲み込んでしまいそうな気がするの。
Feels like she's gonna swallow me whole. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. We'll see.
大丈夫や。
It's
わ
alright.
しが一緒にいる限り、なんも恐れることなんてあらへん。
As long as I'm with you, there's nothing to be afraid
ほ
of.
ら、ちょいとヤバめな国に旅行に行った時、バスごと強盗にあったことあったやろ。
Remember that time you went to that dangerous country and the whole bus got robbed? Where are they going? Where are they going that everyone on the tour bus is getting robbed? You going to sketchy Central American or African countries? Where are you going, dude? That seems like a terrible idea.
わしが撃退したんや
I
で。
drove him off.
あなた金時計を渡して拝み倒しただけだったじゃない。
Didn't you just hand over your gold watch and beg them to go away?
かっこ悪いけど
It was pretty lame, but it was also...
かっこよかったわ。
I drove him off! You handed over your gold watch and begged them to leave?
この手
Don't move your hand.
絶対に離さないでね。
No matter what.
眠っても絶対に離さないでね。
Not even if I fall asleep.
そして何か不気味なものが忍び込んできても
If something creepy sneaks in here,
私を守ってね。
protect me.
おう、任せとかんかい。
Yeah, leave it to me.
だから、今は安心して眠るんやで。
That's why I'm telling you to stop worrying. Get some sleep.
すぐに薬とわしの魔法が効いてくるからな。
Because the medicine and my magic will start working real soon. Ava finally calmed her heart and closed her eyes. Alright, good night, Ava. At that time, there was the sound of a door being opened violently from the direction of the lobby. It seemed that Mario was having a tantrum, and screams of could be heard, along with Rosa's rebuking yells. It probably hurt Ava's ears, or maybe it was giving her a headache. Ava moaned as though in pain and buried herself in the covers. It was easy to guess what was happening. Maria probably had a tantrum for some reason, went down to the lobby, and started arguing with Rosa, who then scolded her daughter. And then maybe that got too embarrassing to be shown in front of the other relatives, so Rosa took Maria out into the corridor. Hideyoshi had no desire to butt in on Rosa and Maria's problem, but just for now, since Ava's condition was so bad, he wanted them to take the ruckus somewhere else.
ちょいと待っとれや。
Wait a second.
静かにするようお願いしてくるわ。
I'll ask them to keep it down.
早く戻ってきて。
Get back quickly.
大丈夫や。この部屋から出んて。
Don't worry, I'm not leaving the room. Hallway shot. Hello. Hideyoshi removed the chain, opened the door, and stuck his face out into the corridor. He immediately met
大
Rosa's
丈夫
gaze.
かいな。ローザさん。
Everything okay, Rosa-san? It's the nicest way to say, Jesus fuck, you're being loud, right?
ごめんなさい。うるさくして起こしちゃったかしら。
Sorry, did all the noise wake you?
マリアちゃん、ごめんな。
Maria-chan,
エヴァ
sorry.
おばさんな、具合が悪くて寝とるんや。
Oh, David's not feeling well and she's trying to
す
sleep.
まんが、ちょいと静かにしてもらえ
Can you
るか。
quiet down just a little bit? Maria's tone didn't change after Hideyoshi's request. She kept crying ooh and repeating, my Rose, my Rose. Rosa slapped Maria's cheek, lifted her up while covering her mouth, and dragged her towards the entrance, trying to at least put some distance between her and Hideyoshi's room. She'd probably still be noisy for a while, but he had warned Rosa for the time being. Alright. Relying on Rosa's actions as the mother, Hideyoshi closed the door.
またマリアちゃんが泣いてるの？
Is Maria-chan having a tantrum again?
そうみたいやな。
Looks like
ロ
it.
ーザさんも大変や。
Tough for Rosa, too.
それを思えば、うちのジョージは適正や。
Come to think of it, George is almost too good to be true.
親が感謝したいくらい
You
や
should be
で。
grateful.
そうね。
You're right.
お
And-
お、すまん
Oh,
す。ほら
sorry, sorry.
魔法の手や
Look,
で。
it's a magic hand again. He put his hand on Ava's forehead once again. Maybe there really was magical power in that hand. A truly peaceful look rose to Ava's face, and bit by bit she began to drift off into the land of sleep. As he promised, Hideyoshi kept his hand on her forehead. Scene end? Okay, okay. By the entrance, with her hand still against Maria's mouth, Rosa was at a loss at what to do next. She hadn't been able to withstand everyone's gazes in the lobby and had yelled at the children to go upstairs, dashing out of the lobby. Then she went out into the corridor, only to have Hideyoshi say she was too noisy. Where should I go now? Where do I take this child who's having a tantrum? Felt as though tears of frustration were about to come out. As Maria kept struggling in an attempt to scream, Rosa put her mouth up to Maria's ear and tried to persuade Maria properly in a calm voice.
マリアはそんなにもバラが見たいの
Maria,
ね。
do you really want to see the rose that much? Maria nodded her head several times, moaning, ooh.
どうしてそんなにバラが見たいの？
Why do you want to see it so
お
much?
母さんが聞いてあげるから静かに話して。
I'll listen as your mother, so please tell me
叫
quietly.
んだら殴るわよ。
I'll hit you if you scream.
マリアのバラ、ベアトリーチェに蘇らせてもらったの。
My rose, Beatrice revived
ま
it.
た折れちゃってるかも。
It might have snapped off
マ
again.
リアはそれが心
I'm
配。
worried about that.
確かめないと眠れない。
I can't sleep until I'm sure. Okay, good answer. A good answer here. If Beatrice revived it once, she can revive it again. And you're more important than the rose. To both yourself and Beatrice. It's good magical practice to learn how to revive a rose. Like, I got so many answers here. Let's see what Rosa takes. Apparently she was still upset about that marked rose from yesterday. Rosa felt her headache throbbing again, but she was at least a little relieved Maria had now stopped her screaming.
とにかく今はみんな大変なの。
Everyone's having a hard time.
だ
Right
か
now.
らママたちに迷惑をかけないで。
Don't bother Mama and
バラの
everyone.
話は明日雨が上がったら好きにしてい
You
いか
worry
ら。
about the rose all you want tomorrow when it stops
だから
raining.
今は聞き分けなさい。
For now, listen to me. Alright, I mean, that's a reasonable answer, but Maria is not a reasonable person at any point.
やだやだやだやだ。
Yep, no, 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 no,
マリア
no.
のベアトリー
It's
チェ
my
のバラ。
Beatrice's rose. Rosa reflexively covered Maria's mouth. He spoke a little too harshly and gotten her agitated again. Rosa realized it was partially her own fault and clicked her tongue in self-hatred. But Maria thought it was directed at her, and her crying grew even fiercer.
お願いだから静かにして。
Please just be quiet.
どうしたらあなたは泣き止むの？
What can I do to make you stop
ど
crying?
うしたらあなたはママの言うことを聞いてくれ
What
る
do
の
I do to make you listen to what your mama says? Suddenly, Maria stopped crying so fast it seemed unnatural, and then she turned around and muttered,
マリアのバラを見たら、ちゃんと明日まで静かにしてるよ。
If I get to see my rose, I'll stay quiet until tomorrow.
本当
Really?
うん。
I'm curious, since the plot's still going, since the plot is seemingly still going and we haven't ended the chapter in a draw or anything like that, are they gonna be murdered as victims of the second Twilight? That would be kind of funny. I'd extra hate Maria for her stupid tantrums and getting other people killed. I mean, she's basically like causing problems for people all the time, but my goodness. Alright. We'll see how this goes.
バラ庭園に行って、マリアのバラを見たら、
If we go to the rose
もう
garden
お
and
と
I
なしくす
see
る。
my rose, I'll calm down. That's a bad deal. That's a bad deal, Rosa. If the rose is dead, she'll scream because she didn't see her rose.
本当だよ、ママ。
I mean it, Mama. Say, like, once we reach the rose garden, you have till, like, my count of 90 or something like that to find your rose. Otherwise, if the rose is gone, you're screwed. And out they go. If it would keep Maria quiet for the time being, Rosa thought going out into this wind and rain is a small price to pay. She thought it might be a bit reckless, but in the end, no murder or anything of the sort actually occurred. All the clamor since this morning had been a farce set up by Kinzo. If you carefully thought about that chain of closed rooms, it clearly had to be an act.
本当にバラを見たらもうおとなしくする
You really listen if you get to see the rose?
うん、本当だよ、ママ。
I mean it, Mama. Rosa didn't overlook that creepy laugh and lightly hit Mario with her fist. Bonk! And she shrugged as though giving up.
わかったわ
Understood.
一目見たら納得するのよ
If it's one look, then I'll
い
agree.
いわね
That work? Maria being the person you want to die in the zombie movie because she gets people killed. This is the exact bullshit you don't do in a zombie movie, right? Throw a tantrum over your flower garden until someone has to come with you to escort you to get it, and then they get killed, and you feel bad about getting them killed later, and you're like, oh, I can't believe I got them killed. I feel so bad about it, but I just needed to make sure my petunias got watered on every Tuesday. I mean, it was almost the end of the day. It was unacceptable.
うん、ママ。
Yes, Mama.
約束する。
I promise. Once again, Rosa tested the weight of her gun. It'll be okay. It's only an act. There was never a murderer on this island in the first place.
くそ待てよローザおばさん
Damn it, wait, Aunt
ローザお
Rosa!
ばさんとマリアが第二の晩の犠牲者なの
Are they
か
the sacrifice for the second Twilight? I mean, Maria really wants to get them killed, so maybe.
くそくそくそ誰か気づけよ呼び止めろ
If it, someone notice and tell them to stop.
今
Too
の
late,
親父たち
Maria
が
threw
俺
a
たちは
tantrum.
何をしてるんだ
What are those guys in the living room and us kids doing?
ローザ親子の痛々しい関係に気を使ってわざわざ話題を変えておるぞ
They're being considerate of Rosa's pitiful relationship with her daughter and forcibly changing the subject.
そなたらも2階へ上がりテレビを見ながら話題を変えておる
The group that includes you went up to the second floor and is talking about something else while watching TV.
くそったれ
You bastards. How are you mad at everyone else and not mad at Maria for screaming until her mother goes and gets herself killed for her? I mean, Maria clearly doesn't give a flying fuck if her mother dies in the first place. But you should still be like, this person is an awful fucking gremlin. Anyway.
誰か気づけよ
Someone noticed them.
一番近くにいるのは
Who's
誰
the
だよ
closest? Uncle
秀吉おじさん
Hideyoshi?
か頼むよ玄関から二人が出ていくのを気づいてくれよ
Please notice. They're leaving through the front door.
届かん届かん
It won't reach. It won't reach.
二人のささやかな時間を邪魔してくれるな
Disturb their precious time together. Hideyoshi kept talking kindly, his hand on Ava's forehead. He didn't notice at all that Rosa and Mario were going outside through the front door. In that case, there was no way the others in the lobby, which is even further away, would notice. Much less those in the cousin's room on the second floor.
そなたは何を慌てておるのか
Are you so pissed?
第一の晩にて犯人は事故死したとの大胆な指し手にてわらわを打ち破ったではないか
Didn't you defeat me with that bold move, saying the culprit died in an accident on the first Twilight?
ならばもうこの
Doesn't that
島に
mean
犯
there's
人
no
は
longer
お
a
らぬこ
culprit
と
on
に
the
な
island?
るぞ
Oh, but we have way more incentive now. In fact, I don't even know why Rosa's not like the most fucking durable person on the planet, as she's got literally billions of yen riding on whether or not she gets assassinated by the person who wants to murder her now. Like, come on, dude. Like, oh, now it's not just my stupid bitch of a daughter is screaming again. It's I now have my family member, one of my family members, possibly two, wanting to murder me so I don't reveal that the gold exists so they can have all of it. Like, you're seriously risking not only you're not only giving someone a motive and then going out to get yourself killed, but you're like, oh, it's so dumb, but whatever. Mario's a miserable person to be around, we know that. What's there to be
何
so
を
worried
心
about?
配する必要があるというのか
I mean, if I was in Battler's shoes, I'd be like, well, you see, there's now, like, every motive. There's every motive for, Ava to murder. Every single motive on the planet for Ava to murder Rosa. So, going out like this when she doesn't know exactly where Ava is literally just hanging herself for her stupid fucking daughter. Well, I guess Mario's not getting jack fucking shit of that money, because, when Rosa dies, it's game over.
うるせえよ、白々しいんだよ。
Shut up, I can see right through you.
誰か引き止めろ。二人が殺されるんだ。
Someone stop them, those two will be killed.
誰か止めろ。
Well, let's see them die. If they're gonna die, let's see them die. There's no way that Battler's voiceless scream would reach Rosa or Maria. The two of them could be seen in the rose garden. The rain was still awful, but fortunately the wind died down a little. Or maybe that wasn't fortunate, because if the wind had been fiercer, Rosa might have hesitated to go outside. Here it is. Maria found her rose with the gold lace and stared at it lovingly. Rosa had accepted the promise under the condition that Maria would only get one look at it. She didn't want Maria to complain it hadn't been enough later on, so she decided to go along with Maria until she's satisfied. She believed that there wasn't a culprit, but on the off chance she was mistaken, they were now in an extremely dangerous, and exposed position. Rosa realized that faintly herself. If things got bad, she'd throw away her umbrella and ready her gun. Oh, she's not even holding the gun. Double bad. Okay. After glancing at Maria's innocent happiness, she gazed warily in all directions. Oh, there's the golden butterflies! Were her eyes just tired? Even though no one should have been there, she thought she saw something glitter in the dark rose garden. Gold-colored? It had to be her imagination. Because to Rosa it seemed as though gold butterflies were dancing through the rose bushes. Are you okay?
無理せんで。やっぱり
Take it easy.
南條先生を呼んでこん
Can I
か。
call Dr. Nancho after all?
大丈夫だから
Oh, fine.
この手を離さないで
I'll take your hand away.
お願いだから
Becky, you don't take your hand away.
離さないで
Ava was breathing wildly. Beads of sweat were appearing on her forehead. It certainly was true she stayed up all night last night and that things had been rough since early this morning. It wasn't odd that her body wasn't keeping up, even though he understood it. Hideyoshi suspected that this sudden fever was the sign of some serious illness. Several times he decided to call for the doctor, but Ava resisted firmly, pleading with him and saying it was even more important that he didn't take his hand away. Again, we can reject any scenes we feel like, now that we can reject the magical scenes. So if you don't think that Hideyoshi and Ava, who are currently unobserved by anyone else in the group, are actually in this room, you can deny that if you want to.
でもな、お昼になったら必ず南條先生に見てもらうんや
I
で。
understand, but you gotta have Dr. Nanjo look at you by
それを
lunchtime.
約束できるなら、ずっとここにいて
If you promise me
お
that,
前
I'll
の
stay
手
here the
を
whole time
握った
gripping
る
your
からな。
hand.
こうして。
Tightly, like this.
だな。
ありがとう。大丈夫よ。あなたの手の魔法で。
The magic of your hand will definitely take this fever away.
必
Even as
ず
she said that, Ava's harsh
こ
breathing
んな
didn't
熱なん
improve
か
in
下
the
がっちゃうか
slightest.
ら。離さ
Don't
ないで。
let go. Don't let go. She saw an umbrella moving from beyond the rose bush. Rosa threw away her umbrella and wildly lifted her gun. When she did, the shadow of a person beyond the bush showed itself.
ふーん
Hey, look, it's new Beatrice.
エヴァおばさん。
Aunt Ava?
うん
You heard me.
びっくりしたわ。
You, Nason?
何かご用？
You have some business with me?
さっきの話の続きなの。
You want to continue our earlier discussion?
ええ、そうよ。
That's right.
お父様の黄金の話よ。
Our discussion about Father's Gold.
お願いだからマリアの前では遠慮して。
Please restrain yourself in front of Maria.
ちゃんと約束は守ってるわよ。
I'll keep my promise, okay?
姉さんの悪巧みの邪魔はしないわ。
I won't get in the way of your conspiracy.
悪巧み？
Conspiracy?
何それ？
What's that?
姉さんが何を考えていても勝手よ。
Whatever you're thinking, that's up to you.
私は邪魔する気なんてない。
I have no desire to get in the way.
だからマリアの前では許して。
Please not in front of Maria.
私は分け前さえもらえれば十分なの。
As long as I get my share, that'll be enough.
分け
Your share? Oh, you're not getting anything. You're by yourself, isolated? Guess you're gonna die. Ava started laughing in a creepy voice. Rosa was startled, but Maria stared blankly. And then Maria said one thing.
ふーんおばさん
Auntie?
誰？
Who are you?
誰がお前にやるものか。
Your share? Who would give that to you?
あれはすべて私のも
All of that is
の。この黄金
mine.
の魔女、ベアトリーチェのものよ。
All of that is mine, and all of it belongs to me, the Golden Witch Beatrice.
エヴァ、大丈夫か？エヴァ、
Ava, are you okay?
エヴァ、エヴァ。
握っていて。離さないで。
Oh my god.
私じゃない誰かに連れ去られないように。
Don't let me be dragged away with someone in his name, blah blah.
私の手を握っていて。
Hold on to my hand.
離さないで。
Oh my god.
お前が何を努力したの？
When did you ever work
何も努
hard?
力してない。
You never work hard for anything.
いつも私たちの影に隠れてのらりくらり。
You're always
いつ
hiding in
も
our
戦
shadows.
わずに影から影へと逃げ回っていたお前に
You escape from shadow to shadow without fighting.
後ろ宮家の黄金を無心する資格など本当にあると思ってるの？
And you think yourself qualified to make demands of me over the Ashiromiya family gold?
あれは全て後ろ宮
All
家
of
投
it's
資に
mine.
して
It's all
新
mine.
しき黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェの名を継承した
Mine alone is head of the family, and new Golden Witch successor to the name Beatrice. She starts screaming. ranting about gold.
ベア
Beatrice.
トリーチェだ
It's Beatrice.
ベアトリーチェ
Mama Beatrice. Maria jumped at her mother in ecstasy. Rosa greeted Maria cold-heartedly and raised her gun high.
姉さんよね
You're Nason, right?
姉さんなのよね
Nason, right? Aren't you?
違うわ。
Wrong.
私はもはやあなたの姉であった存在ではな
I'm
い
no
の。
longer the one who was your sister?
じゃあベアトリーチェだとでも言うの
Are you trying to say you're Beatrice?
そんなはずはない
Impossible.
あんたは19年前に死んだのよ
You died 19 years ago?
ええ確かに死んでいたわだって私あなたの頭が割れているところをはっきり見たもの
I clearly saw how your head was split open. You're
その
definitely
中
dead.
身が溢れ出しているのを昨日のことのように思い出
I
せ
remember
る
the insides flowing out like it was
その
yesterday.
あんたがどうして生きてここにいる
How
の
can you be
よ
alive and here right now?
黄金の魔女に死の概念などないの。
Concept death does not exist to
黄
a
金
golden
の魔
witch.
女とベアトリーチェの名は永遠に受け継がれて
Golden
る
witch and the
わ。
name Beatrice will be handed down for all eternity.
お前が知っていたベアトリーチェは死を迎えたかもしれないが、
Maybe the
今や
Beatrice
そ
you
れ
knew
は
about with
私の
death,
名である。
but the name is mine
ゆ
now,
えに無
sure.
限。
Therefore
ベ
it's
アトリー
eternal.
チェに死の概念はないの。
Concept of death does not exist for Beatrice.
哀れね姉さん
All I can see is the gold's driven you mad. How pitiful, Nason.
もはや私はお前の姉ではないというのに。
You know I'm not your sister
さ
anymore.
て、新しきベアトリーチェとして自らの復活の儀式を引き継ぐわ。
Well, as the new Beatrice, I've been tasked with my own resurrection ceremony.
ロノ
Run
ベ、
away.
私はどうすればいいの？
What do?
ご随意のまま
Well, that's up to you.
もはやベアトリーチェ様にはどのような思いも実現できる力
the
が
power to make whatever you
おあり
think reality?
少し扱えば慣れるでしょう
You should grow used to it once you've tried it out a little.
不甲斐なき元妹よ。
Worthless former
私が魔女
sister.
として初めて捧げる最初の生贄に選ばれたことを
Consider
光
it
栄
an
に
honor.
思
You
う
can
が
select
いい。
this. Okay, so like this arc ends really easily. It's this arc ends really easily and in a boring way. These two people are murdered by Ava and possibly Hideyoshi as they're gold obsessed. That's not really like a hard sell for anyone, right? And they'll just claim they were in their rooms recovering or some bullshit. Like it's not hard.
第二の番に寄り添う二人を私がこの手で引き裂く。
On the second twilight, I tear those who are close apart with my own hands. The first thing the new Beatrice wished for, the first magic she tried to use, was to surpass the limitations given to humans. In particular, gravity. She wanted to become aware of her transformation into a witch by being released from those shackles. As the witch and Rosa stayed as they were, the ground retreated by itself into the distance below them. By now, their feet were no longer attached to the ground. Rosa finally realized the earth wasn't retreating into the distance below them, but that she and the witch were being sucked up into the rainy sky. For humans shackled to the ground by gravity, there's nothing more unnerving than having their feet stop sticking to the ground. However, to Beatrice, who in becoming the new witch learned the joy of being released from gravity. Dude, I really wish they would just stop doing these elaborate magical scenes. Like, I was trying really hard to just accept it as being magical, but given the premise of the entire game being that magic can't exist, it's really annoying that they keep doing these elaborate magical scenes. Just like right that they never returned. I don't want to read 2 hours of magical dialogue that I can just say didn't happen because I replace it with Ava going out and capping fucking Rosa or bashing them over the head. I don't give a fuck. It's wasting so much of my goddamn time. Holy fuck. Just end the scene already. Can we not just fade to black and go to another scene? I don't want to read it because it's such a waste of time. It's not interesting to read. Nobody cares if it's not real. And if it is real, then the whole premise of the story is wasted, so the whole story is a waste of time. Just stop writing these scenes, for fuck's sake. Enough to make her whole body shake with delight.
ねえローザ、昔小さい頃魔女になって空が飛べたらなって話したことあるの覚えてる？
Hey Rosa, do you remember long ago when we were small when we used to talk about what it was like to become witches and fly around the sky?
叶ったよ。
Dreams been granted, hasn't it? I even have to listen to this dialogue. I can't even take my headphones off to rest my ears.
私が本当の魔女になって叶えてあげたわ。
I became a real witch and granted it for you. Stop it, it's a dream, then wake me up.
あなた言ったわ。
Said it
夢の
yourself.
中で空を飛んだって。
You said you flew through the sky in your dream.
そして覚めたくなかったとも言ったわ。
And you said you didn't want to wake up.
起こした私を恨んだともね。
Well, you even got mad at me when I woke you up. Also, her voice is like really grating to my ears. I don't know why. The new witch Beatrice is actually just like miserable to listen to. That doesn't help. But that's just personal like bias.
安心して。
Don't worry.
今度は覚めないわよ。
This time you won't wake up, okay?
いや。
Come on, dance with me in the vast rainy sky. Like, dude, we already know we were gonna get fucking killed because we left by ourselves. Like, even if this was a normal murder mystery and didn't have the debate of whether or not magic existed, this would be like the most obvious death flag I've ever seen. Is like, I'm gonna go off by myself into this storm and rain, miles away from everybody else with my daughter because she screams about roses. And I'm also like the only person who like someone has a motive to kill. Like, are you serious? Oh, didn't we both wish we could fly like seagulls in the sky? Yep, sure. Escape the cramped, boring island of Rockenshima. Now I'll make that dream a reality for you. I only want to share this joy with you and no one else. It's so fun, Rosa. It's so fun. Take a look below you. Look at how small our mansion is. It's still playing that stupid... it's still playing that stupid hall music. So I can't even like retweak the audio mix. I wonder how much time we spent in the palace. Place that small. I'm especially shocked at how cramped and tiny it is. I don't care about your dialogue. Fuck, just go away. This scene is too long. So feel, enjoy.
私たちが憧れた大空を自由にする力を
Rejoice, the power we yearn for, the power to move through the sky at will. Come on, let's dance, Rosa. Oh, I don't know. I missed that line. Through the wind. Let's dance like, fly around like we're dancing. The lightning will shine on us and bless us. The witch and Rosa were like leaves floating around in a whirlwind. As the rain pounded on every part of their bodies, and the lightning occasionally shone on them, they shook with the joy of being released from the ground. Whoever was only that way for the witch. Rosa was holding onto her head, voicelessly screaming over and over. Like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to be emotionally attached to this scene. Stop it. It's so hilariously drawn out. Like, if you think of one of those scenes where, like, for comedic effect, they just draw out, like, what should be, like, a 10-second scene into 30 minutes. It's like what they've been doing for so freaking long. I've had it. Like, I fucking had it. Just fucking end the scene. Forgive me, let me down. Fuck, just end the scene already. I'm fucking sick of this. I don't give a fuck. They're dead. Change the scene. I don't care anymore. Every magic scene, I'm just gonna fucking skip it. It's so stupid. She sunk deep into a purple grape-flavored sea. She drowned. Okay. It really was an ocean of gel. Oh, fuck off. It's still going. I don't care. She's dead. Laughter. Okay. I'm waiting till there's another scene. Like, if nothing happens, I don't care. Okay, she's dead. Sure, we can start reading again. You don't understand the problem? Okay, here's the fundamental problem, which I introduced in the second arc, and they even confirmed in this arc. The problem is, if the scenes that aren't magic... Okay, the problem is, the fundamental question is whether or not magic is real. If magic isn't real, which is the premise of the story, like, if magic is real, then the fundamental premise of our entire story arc is a complete waste of time because nothing's being solved. Okay? So it's all magic. We're all wasting our time. All 8 arcs are a complete waste of our time. So what is our character doing? There's nothing happening. We're just watching eight sets of people getting murdered for fun. Like, it's a complete waste of time. If magic isn't real, if magic isn't real, then every single scene with magic is a complete waste of time and should just be a black box that says insert scene where magic is used, X person dies via drowning or whatever. Like, who cares? So in this scene, it's like, Rosa dies via drowning. And you're like, okay, she's dead. Good. Like, bye. I don't care. It's an input and an output box. I don't care. Like, I don't care if it's a black box. The premise is that magic is real or magic isn't real. If the magic isn't real, then they're wasting my time. And if the magic is real, then the entire story is a waste of time. Either you have the choice of the story is a waste of time, or the individual scenes are a colossal waste of time that the author is using to pad this absurdly long visual novel. Okay? That's what it is. It's either he's adding literally like 15 freaking hours, literally like 15 freaking hours to every arc with magical scenes that aren't actually happening. What? To what? Entertain me? They don't exist. They don't even exist in the universe. They're just like made up bullshit. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I just want to know like, it's not interesting if it's not happening or if it's not even happening in someone's mind. Like, it's just, she's telling me a story and I'm like, well, that's a waste of time. Why are you explaining to me? Like, I'm getting impatient with reading a scene that's really, really long because the scene doesn't even happen for anybody in the universe. The author's just writing it to fill that. Like, I could literally just write a story. I could write a story about someone walking to like work and literally just have like 400, I could make a 400-page, I could write a 400-page book about someone walking to work and just have the inner workings of their mind as like these fantastical magical adventures. And you're like, well, that's great. And then the story's like they walk to work. And it's like, unless the stories inside there are interesting, it's a complete waste of time. Who's to say it's not happening in someone's mind? It's happening in nobody's mind. Because the premise of the entire story is that magic isn't real. And like, if we're having this story and magic's real and our character's an idiot, then we're wasting our time even bothering to do any theory crafting to try to cope for the guy, right? So like, if we are wrong and the protagonist is wrong, we are both wasting all of our times, and all of this like theory crafting fun we're having is a complete waste of time. So the premise of the entire story and all 8 arcs is that magic is not real, and he's going to demonstrate it, and we're going to have some logical arguments that are interesting. That's great. I'm okay with that. The problem is that they keep making these more and more and more and more elaborate magical scenes, but the magical scenes, like, they don't matter because the fundamental premise of the story is that they don't matter. It's like, the scenes just keep going on, and they're getting more and more gratuitous to the point where it's not like, okay, they fight and they die, or it's like interesting, it's just like, okay, she's dead. We literally had like an hour-long scene of someone ascending to magehood when magic doesn't exist, and you're like, okay, that's fine. Can we move on? And it's like, no, we're not done yet. We're gonna do this next scene, and you're like, can we just have a scene that happens that we can all confirm happened instead of having these scenes that are absurdly long? Like, we have this massively long murder scene that doesn't happen, and then we have a massive discussion about the scene, and it's like, can we just have like a concise story, because you're already writing absurdly long scenes. It's like, if we explain something nobody cares about, you're just wasting everyone's time. I just want the scene to be over with. I don't understand how you can't get that. The entire premise of the story is that the magic isn't real, so you can go with minimalistic magical scenes, and the more elaborate you make them, the more frustrating it is, because you're just wasting everybody's time. Like, we don't care about that. And the premise of the story is that it can't be real, because otherwise you're wasting the reader's time. It's like, if I write a book that is literally just like, it's like if I write a book about a character reading a book, and the character, the book the character's reading is completely irrelevant and super boring. It's just like, it's a children's book, and it's like the equivalent of like 600 children's books in a row, and you're just reading these repeatedly for the sake of like the author filling space because he wanted to feel like he was reading a monotonous book. Like, you're just wasting everybody's time, which is what he's doing here. Like, it's like, why is he still going? Like, just end the stupid scene already. Like, I'm not going back to read that. I'm not going back to read that, and the minute we drop into magical bullshit territory, I'm just gonna start skipping it until I see something that looks interesting. This discussion is fine, because you know what? Half the time they go over what happened in the scene anyway, which is also why it's a waste of time. It's like, if you're gonna go over what happened in the scene beforehand and do a literal recap 5 minutes after it happened, you're wasting my time by doing a recap while I'm reading it in the same chapter. It's like, okay, wait, we're gonna continue from here. Stop. Quit messing around, witch. Are you trying to tell me that that's Aunt Ava? It's impossible. The Ava I know might be mean at times, but it's completely impossible. She's the kind of person to do something as cruel. It's all part of your deception. Don't toy with Rosa. Don't toy with Ava. She's like, here's the thing, right? The joy in seeing something that's not real, because obviously, like, we could make the assumption that magic probably isn't real in real life, at least to my knowledge. Like, the joy in seeing something that isn't real happening, like, while I'm playing a video game, is that, like, I can imagine for the characters that it's happening, but for the characters, it's not really happening, and in this story, the premise is that it can't possibly be happening in the first place, so it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter because it doesn't the existence or the contents of the scene shouldn't actually matter to any of the characters in the scene either. Because even someone reading a novel in like a novel in a novel, the novel itself could be the entertainment to them, and like their opinion on what happens in it might matter. But in this case, they're not even reading like the contents of the magical scene shouldn't fucking matter to anybody, including Battler. It's just like gratuitous violence against his own relatives, and he's like, this is kind of disgusting. Why the fuck are you continuing this? But other than that, like, it shouldn't matter. The scene's so damn elaborate and overdone. It's just like, yeah, okay, move on to the next scene, please. But meta-wise, like, we, the reader, know that it can't be relevant because that would defeat the purpose of going through the entire story. It's like a story has a beginning, middle, and end, and the ending has to mean that the journey was relevant. Even if the focus is more on the journey than the arrival at the ending, that the ending has to mean that the journey meant something. At least to the character involved. So the premise, so like not having the exploration of the premise be invalid is a complete waste of time. Alright. Not this farce right now, he's crying more. I'm not the only one. I'm not the one playing with Rosa anymore. Like I said, it's the new Beatrice. Is it so terrible you have to squeal like that? You're also pretty fond of stuff like this, aren't you? You actually have a bit of interest in magic, and... What are you doing? For the first time, Battler slapped Beato's cheek. Beatrice didn't know why he had done something like that to her, but a surprised expression rose to her face. Battler especially couldn't forgive that expression, and he roared. You call this amusing? What's wrong with your head? You know she's like a psychopathic witch who wants to see people die, right? Like, even if you don't think she's magical, or that she exists, the whole premise you're arguing about. Die, go slice your head to bits and look inside, you'll see there's nothing there. Stop it right there. Stop this disgusting farce. I won't forgive you. How could you do something so cruel? I thought you could be a bit funny, but I'll never make that mistake again. You're just a monstrous cruel on all levels. Don't show yourself in front of me. Never again. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. The instant Battler screamed, the power that resisted the witch became a red wall and knocked Beato onto her ass. What are you talking about? Isn't this an interesting show? It's too... Alright, she spoke defensively, but the target of those words, Battler, was no longer there. His figure had suddenly disappeared into the darkness, but Beatrice looked displeased and continued trying to explain herself. It's not... I'm completely blind to where you're coming from. It's nothing more than an innocent prank, isn't it? Didn't you murder him and his whole family? That's a good point. No matter how you killed them, they always get brought back to life in the end, right? I thought humans were creatures that say all's well that ends well. I mean, they do all get brought back at the end. Teacher? There's no reason for her to get so angry, right? She was hoping for approval, but Virgilia quickly faced her with an indifferent expression. To Beato, at that moment, even an exasperated look would have probably been better. I have nothing in particular to say. If you think this is fun, you can keep watching as long as you want. Tell me when it's over. I'll vanish until then. Following Battler's lead, Virgilia vanished into the darkness. Beato, who was now completely isolated and didn't have a clue what was going on, felt like they were making her out to be the bad guy. Also, it's also slightly worse in this story because the individual narratives also don't matter. Like, we have like 8 narratives to play through, and none of them will actually matter to the meta story. Like, the actual contents are less relevant than the arguments. I should point that part out too. What's wrong? Isn't it an amusing show?
ちょっとは悪趣味かもしれないけど、割と面白いじゃないかよ。
Can we compromise if a scene's boring? If you don't read aloud, go slow enough that you yourself are parsing it. That's all I care about. Dude, I don't want to read that. I don't want to read a scene that is literally just sitting there and wasting hours of my time. Keep going. Alright, we'll keep going. We'll go with the regular ass pace. It's gonna be a long fucking... It's gonna be a long fucking slog, knowing that all these chapters, all these fucking scenes are a complete waste of my time. Shit. Ronabe, it's nothing to get mad about, right? Something interesting. I just wanted to skip them because that makes the story seem somewhat readable. As like, reading the scene is not interesting, at least to me. Milady may not be necessarily interesting for Battler Sama. Does it really hate me that much? Like, the first arc was fine, because you could, like, have lots of... Like, the first arc, in terms of this, was, like, kind of okay, and the second arc was, like, iffy. But, like, the third arc's, like, really going stupid here. Like, the first arc where it's, like, just people would die, or you'd, like, have, like, a brief description of them dying, or be, like, really confused how they died. Or, like, where they were locked. That's kind of okay, because you can, like, question whether or not magic exists. And then in the second arc, they made it really obvious that it had to be magic. So you're, like, left with the choice of throwing out all the magical scenes. And you're just like, well, okay, at least they're not, like, wasting a ton of their time. But this arc's been, like, hours upon hours of magical scenes that didn't happen. And you're just like, are we still going on this? Like, where's the interest? The intrigue and discussion is, like, supposedly the premise of the show, not, like, 6 hours of watching, like, a wizard fly around killing someone and rant about how OP they are for, like, 10 minutes, only to realize that this is going to be the footnote of they died. Like, they got killed by the witch, the quote-unquote witch. Did they get killed by magic or not? Because, like, this could easily just be, like, Hideyoshi and Eva walk up behind them, escort them to the fucking beach, shoot them, and throw them in the water. Like, throw their bodies in the water. Like, it's that simple. It's that simple. Like, you could just give that explanation for that whole, like, 2-hour scene, because it started last video, and it was still going, basically, with, like, a short interlude to show that Eva apparently went to a room and was sick, therefore nobody killed it and it was all magic. Like, okay, sure. You left, were off by yourselves, and someone else got brutally murdered while you were gone. And you were, like, the only people missing other than all the kids. Minus Mario. So either Battler is the killer, or, like, the people with the obvious motives are killers. We're enemies and opponents in this competition. Is their relationship really so bad we can't laugh together at this display? I mean, I don't think Battler thought the display was all that funny. That's probably what it is, Beatrice. Since I applauded together with Battler, I thought I could at least laugh together with him. Does he really reject me so much that we can't even do that? Beatrice acting like she's an actual high schooler that secretly likes Battler? Okay. He doesn't have to accept I'm a witch. We're challenging each other in this game, after all. Yet he won't look at my face, he won't talk to me. I'll try reading all the scenes, but man, if the scenes get to be like absurd like that, like several times in a row, there's a pretty decent chance I flip the fuck out and skip one of the scenes like that again. Because holy shit, is that annoying. He'll probably do all he can to ignore me. I really hated that much.
これまでお嬢様は十分に嫌われるだけの指し手をいたしました。
The moves you made up to this point have been more than enough to earn his hatred.
悪魔の私でさえバトラ様の気持ちが少しは
Even
わ
the
かる
demon
と
such
い
as
う
myself can understand a bit of Battler Sama's feelings. Battler Sama is not an immortal. Battler Sama is not an immortal, endless witch who will live forever, and is a person involved in this game board. Personally, both personally and physically, there's his life on the line.
それが理解できぬのはお嬢様が特に鈍
Perhaps you
感が
cannot
過ぎるので
understand
は
that
ない
because you're
かと
especially thick-headed, milady.
うるさいうるさいうるさいうるさい
Yeah, shut up, shut up, shut up. Okay, a better way to phrase that would be completely lacking in sympathy?
お前も消えてしまえ
Why don't you just... Or she's completely self-centered. It might be completely self-centered. Like, she's a huge narcissist and can't comprehend... maybe she... I don't know. Is she completely lacking in empathy, or is she just a huge narcissist? It's hard to tell. Why don't you disappear too, Ronabe?
はいかしこまりましたそれでは失礼いたします
Then if you'll excuse me... Excuse me? Oof, he's gone. Even Ronove hid himself in the darkness and Beatrice was left alone, the only one in the rainy rose garden. No one ever plays with a lonely witch, and the fact that no one ever does is what makes them a lonely witch.
なんだよなんでわらわと
Why won't anyone play
遊ん
with
でく
him?
れないんだこんなにわらわは変かよ残酷かよ
Am I really that weird, that cruel? Weren't you literally murdering him and resurrecting him? Weren't you torturing him to death repeatedly and resurrecting him? For your own amusement, not like 10 minutes before this story started? I have the feeling that you could probably like... You probably don't have anyone who wants to volunteers to play with you if all the people who are playing with you supposedly for their own amusement are people are your torture victims. Just saying, like, they're probably not doing that out of the goodness of their... They're probably not doing that because they like you.
誰か
Someone
返事しろ
answer
よ
Isn't this fun? Isn't
遊ぶ
this fun, Rosa? How should we play next? We're actually still going on this scene. I thought that we'd reached the end of the scene because I skipped like 500 lines of dialogue, but we're actually still
も
going.
ちろんマリアも一緒に遊ん
Of
で
course.
あげるわ
We should play with Maria too, right?
みんなで仲良くお散歩しよ
Let's all have a friendly walk together,
う
okay?
煮えたぎるチョコレートの鍋を泳いでケーキ膨らむオーブンの中をピクニックしよ
Let's swim in a pot of boiling chocolate. Let's have a picnic in a cake rising oven.
ノー新しきベアトリー
Hey,
チェ
new Beatrice. Behind the witch that was continuing her mad banquet, Beato showed herself. The expression was rare for her. It was somehow restrained, unreliable, and miserable.
うこれは先代ベアトリーチェ様
Oh, its predecessor,
ご
Beatrice-sama.
覧くださりましたか
Were you watching?
魔法の力は本当に素晴らしい
Power of magic is truly
魔女
wonderful.
に生まれ変わることができたことを今ほど楽しいと思ったことはありません
Until now, I never thought it'd be so fun to be reborn as a witch.
まるでいつまでも終わらぬお遊戯の時間のよ
It's like the playtime that never ends.
うさあ先代様もご一緒に遊びましょう
Let's play together, predecessor-sama.
その前にちょっとお待ちになってください
First,
ね
wait a second, okay?
二人はオーブンの中で焼け焦げて死んでしまったからまた蘇らさないと
I kicked the two of them to death in an oven, so I gotta revive them again.
まるでイーストで膨れるパンみた
They're
い
like
に
bread rising from yeast.
オーブンの中で膨れるクッキーみたいに
Cookies expanding in an oven.
話を聞けというのに
Listen to what I'm saying.
そのだな
Well,
第二の番の生贄にはもう十分であろう
isn't that enough for the sacrifice of the
確か
second
に
Twilight?
殺し方については指定がないが
There's no rules regarding how you kill them, but
それ以上もてあそぶことはあるまいに
maybe you shouldn't toy with them anymore?
何をおっしゃいます先代様
What do you say,
さっ
predecessor
きロノウェ
sama?
から聞きましたよ
I heard from Ronobe a short while
先代
ago.
様の魔法はもっともっと素敵で残酷でやりたい放題だったっ
Wasn't
て。
your magic much, much, much more wonderful, cruel, and crazy?
6人のお腹からお菓子が溢れ出すハロウィンパーティーなんて本当に素敵。
The Halloween party where candy poured out of 6 people's stomachs was truly wonderful.
ならば私はアリスのお茶会を演出しようかしら。
If it'll act out Alice's tea
なんで
party.
もない日を祝うお茶会にみんなを招待して私が魔法で次々おもてなしするの。
I'll invite everyone to a tea party in celebration of a completely pointless day and entertain them one by one with my magic.
先代様みたいに素敵にできるかしら。
I wonder if I can do it as wonderfully as you.
個性的に残酷にポップにキュートにできるかしら。
I wonder if I can be as cruel in my own pop cute style.
今思うとおとぎ話とかってどれも残酷でしたよね。
Now that I think about it, all fairy tales are cruel, aren't they?
そのおとぎ話の魔女に自らがなってみてようやく理解しま
Now
し
that I'm
た。
a witch inside one of those fairy tales, I finally understand.
わらはもうその
I
以
also
前
have
までのは少
Your
し
expressions
やりす
aren't
ぎ
too
た
bad.
かな
sometimes thought that in the
と少
past.
しは思っておるのだ。
I might have gone a bit too far.
まあ黄金の魔女たるもの少しは気品があっても良いかと思うてな。
I think as the Golden Witch, it's probably best to show a little elegance.
ん？先代様が何をおっしゃってるのかわかりません。
Get what you're saying, predecessor sama.
でも一つだけわかります。
But there's one thing I do
今
understand.
の私がどれほどを尽くしても先代様の残酷さには到底及びません。
No matter how hard I try now, I'm no match for how cruel you are.
もっともっと頑張らなくちゃ。
I'm gonna try much, much harder.
もっと残酷になって立派な黄金の魔女にならなくちゃ。
Gotta become more cruel and become an excellent Golden Witch. I mean, she's just killing them a handful of times in an hour. I mean, it hasn't been the entire day, right? How many days of death and resurrection has Battler gone through, or Rosa, or Kraus, was it, that was being repeatedly murdered for his blood? I think it was Kraus. Yeah, how many times did he get brutally murdered for that? I don't know, but I mean, literal days for Beatrice. And Ava Beatrice, she's got what, like a couple minutes here? Just saying. Not that crazy, Beto.
だからそれはもう
Like
十
I said,
分だ
you've
と
done
いう
enough
に。
here. It might not be necessary for the second Twilight, though.
とにかくわら
Anyway,
わ
it's an
の
order from your...
先
Wait,
代
order?
としての命令だ。
This is an order from me as
第
a
二の番は
predecessor.
もう十分だ。
It's enough for the second Twilight.
わらわが少し手本を見せる。
I'll show you how it's
下
done.
がって見ておれ。
Stand back and watch.
はい先代様。
Yes, predecessor.
どんな無残で残酷でおぞましい殺し方を見せてくれるのか楽しみです。
I can't wait to see what brutal, cruel, and disgusting method of killing you use. The new witch grasped the sides of her skirt and gave a graceful bow, stepping back as an expectant gaze rose to her face. She was expecting even more cruel magic that surpassed even herself.
まあそのだ
Well,
な。
speaking of
そ
that,
ういう殺し方しかできないうちは半人前なのだ。
what kind of half-assed tomfoolery is this, Beato? You're only half a witch if you can only kill with methods like that?
わらわが上品な
Oh, sorry, I
黄
skipped
金
that
の魔
line.
女
That
ら
was
し
a
い
mistake.
殺し方を見せようぞ。
I double tap spacebar. I'll show you an elegant way to kill, worthy of the Golden Witch. When Beato waved her pipe, 7 colors of smoke poured out, reviving Rosa and Maria. Compared to how the new Beatrice had done it a short while ago, it was slightly gentler. It's probably gentler to how Beato had done it herself up till now. Rosa's consciousness had already grown dim from the pain of so many repeated deaths. But even so, she pleaded her daughter be spared.
もう許して
He said, mercy.
せめて
Even if it's just Maria.
マリアだけでも
Maria, have mercy. Not too late. No, no. I would feel bad for you, Maria, but this is what you volunteered for by going to the obvious death place. And throwing a temper tantrum when you weren't allowed to go there immediately.
すまぬ。
I mean, I think this is probably overkill, but honestly, like, as far as this setting goes, the number of people who've died, getting someone killed, you probably deserve to die several times for that. Sorry. My disciple acted without restraint for a bit. Forgive me. When Mario realized he was the real Beatrice, she jumped onto her. You promised, right, Beato? Promised you'd take me to the Golden Land, right? There I'll be friendly with Mama and everyone will laugh together? Sorry, no dice. Promise you take me there, right? About that, I can no longer keep that promise. Because someone appeared who could solve the riddle. I am no longer the Golden Witch Beatrice. Sorry. I can't keep that promise anymore. Well, okay. I think just the one death and this is probably enough for Maria, though. Honestly, it probably hurts Maria more to know that the Golden Witch Beatrice betrayed her than it does dying. So we'll just I'll just stick with if they both die and Maria learns that Beatrice is not keeping her promise to her and can no longer take her to the Golden Land, and that the suffering is all going to be worthless. It's probably enough agony. Why? You promised? Sorry. Really sorry. An apology for not being able to keep my promise. I'll give you a quiet sleep that'll never be disturbed again. Beato embraced Mario with a loving expression. And then softly a red bruise appeared on Mario's neck. A gentle bruise. Its redness grew bit by bit, and when it distinctly formed itself into the shape of a hand, Mario's neck tilted suddenly, peacefully as though she fell asleep.
Mario.
Sorry. Not apologizing, you're the sacrifice for the second Twilight. That's simply your fate. However, I apologize for the vulgar way in which you were offered as sacrifices. This is your final sleep. Never again will it be disturbed. Press X to doubt? I mean, if she just wants to resurrect them again 2 days later, can't she just do that? She is an endless witch, right? I don't quite understand why she says it won't be disturbed again when Ava could just resurrect them like 5 minutes later. She could resurrect them like a week later and do it again, if she wanted to. Beato softly, gently lifted her finger as though touching the empty air in front of her nose. When she did, a light breeze lifted up, making Rosa's body dance lightly like a feather. Then Rosa's body floated softly, and right there was a garden fence with its spear-shaped prongs. Spear of the fence pierced Rosa's medulla oblongata. Benevolently, without toying with her in a single blow, Rosa's life was snapped out. Compared to the earlier, innocent yet cruel events, it seemed to be over much too fast. It just looked like a doll-shaped Rosa was leaning against the fence, but she'd passed away. Something like that does the trick. Beato acted proud, but the new witch wore a blank expression, almost as though this were an anticlimax. It is an anticlimax. You've literally done nothing but resurrect and torture you like hundreds of times on screen. Except for this ritual, weirdly enough. But anyway. So I'm with the new Beatrice, where I'm like, I don't see what's wrong with this. I mean, it's like excessive and unnecessary, but whatever. Then she said it aloud.
なんだか地味です。
Kind of plain.
ロノウェイに聞いていた先代様のそれとはずいぶん違います。
Yeah, it's very plain. What are you doing, Beatrice? Not at all like the predecessor Sama Ronove told me about. To be fair, I think she's like being cruel to meta battler rather than actual battler.
そのだな。魔法は上品に使わねばな。
That's the most copium response I've ever seen, Beato. You must use magic with dignity, right?
あまりその品がないのはエレガントではないのだ。
If it's too undignified, it isn't very elegant. Aren't you supposed to be making puzzle rooms or some shit? This is like the most mundane shit I've seen, just like two bodies.
せっかく素敵なことが無限にできる魔法なのに。
Even though you're lucky enough to have the magic to do wonderful things endlessly? Boring.
これ愚痴るでない。
So
黄
complain.
金の魔女の道は一日にしてならずだ。
The path of the Golden Witch can't be completed in
そな
a
こ
day.
とで第10の番を終えるまでは半人前よ。
You're still incomplete until you finish the 10th
今
Twilight?
は黙ってわらわの指導に従うのだ。
For now, just shut up and follow my instructions.
よいな。
Got it?
返事はどうした？
Happened to your answer?
返事は
Your answer? Beatrice acting like she's got all this authority when Eva can just like murder her at any time, like she did her predecessor.
はーい。
Sure.
それでよい、それで。
Fine, that'll do.
まあ、まだ復活の儀式
There's
の
still
先
much
は
to do
長
for
い
the
ぞ。
resurrection ceremony.
あと5人も殺さねばならないか
You
ら
still have
な
to。kill 5 people.
あまりもてあそばずに、綺麗に、上品に。
Do it without toying with them too much, with beauty and dignity. And intentionally leave doubt as to whether or not magic is real so I can win my battler with, Ishiromira battler.
少しあっさりめでいいか
And
な。
with at least a little restraint,
ロノウェイ
okay?
がそなたに教えたわらわのやり方は、その、
Or one of they told you about how I did it was a
悪い
bad
例だ。
example.
模範にしてはならぬ。
Don't use it as a model.
よく心に刻んでおけ。
Engrave it into your heart.
はい、先代様。
Yes, predecessor sama.
良い返事だ。
Good
ロノウェイ
answer.
煉獄の七姉妹よ。いでよ。
One of they? 7 stakes arise.
はい、お嬢様。
Milady.
ロの上、ここに。
I, Ronove, am here.
傲慢のルシファー、ここに。
Lucifer of Pride here.
これまではだな。その、わらわもいろいろ派手にやってきたわ
Up
けだ
to
が。
this point, I've been a bit flashy. Oh, and?
その、まあ、黄金の魔女としての威厳も大事であり。
The dignity of the Golden Witch is also important. Haven't you just been making closed room dilemmas? That's like all you've been making? They haven't been really flashy, honestly.
まあ、その、だな。
Dignity of the Golden Witch is important, and about that? As Ronove laughed at Beato's uncharacteristically flustered speech, he summed it up for her.
かしこまりました。以後は黄金の魔女の名にふさわしい気品に気をつけるようにいたしま
We'll
す
be。careful to act in a graceful manner suitable for the name of the Golden Witch.
煉獄の七姉妹もこれまでのような悪ふざけは改め、
Even the 7 Sisters of Purgatory will reform their bad behavior up until now.
以
Okay.
後は最短の手順で任務を遂行するように。
We'll expose to perform our task in the quickest possible manner. This is like the weirdest meta intervention. But
と
okay.
いうことで、
Would that be
よろしい
acceptable,
です
milady?
か、お嬢様。
うん。
Indeed.
つまりはそういうこと
More or
だ
less.。
みんな、肝に銘じよ。
Everyone take it to
よい
heart.
な。
Okay.
はい、
If I was Ava, I'd be like, the fuck?
かしこまりました。
Certainly.
わらわが言いたいのは以上だ。
That's all I wish to say.
もう引き上げて
You
よい
may
ぞ。
leave.
かしこまりました。それでは失礼いたします。
失礼いたします。
Use us.
ま、それでは
That's all I
引
wanna
き
say.
続きしっかりな。
Take care as you move forward, yeah?
黄金の魔女らしく貫禄を持ってその
Act with dignity and
自重気味
restraint?
に頑張るがよいぞ。
Give it your
そ
all.
なたを
I'll
見
be
守っ
watching
てお
over
る
you. Okay. Acting awkwardly until the end, Beato left that message and immediately became a cloud of gold butterflies, hiding her form in the empty air. Maybe it'd be more accurate to say she vanished in a hurry because she couldn't keep up the conversation. After that, all that remained was Maria's corpse lying down impounded by the rain, Rosa's corpse propped up by the fence and staring at the sky, and the figure of the witch.
自重しろ。
Oh, some restraint, you say? Her expression looked just a little bored. There was a popping sound. That's probably her clicking her tongue.
つまんないやつ。
What a boring person. Leaving that last sentence behind, she once again vanished into the empty air. Well. At least Maria gets to realize that all of her joy at the murders was for naught, as she's not getting her ticket to the Golden Land. And that's the one good thing that came out of that scene, was that Maria didn't survive. I mean, I don't approve of. I don't really want her to die. I mean, she's annoying, but like, I don't really think she should be dead. But you know, everyone's dying in this anyway, so. At least she died doing the stupid horror trope.
ようやく落ち着いてくれたようやな。
Hideyoshi wiped his own forehead, and for a time, Eva seemed to be having a painful nightmare, but it appeared she'd finally fallen asleep. As promised, he still gripped Eva's hand. Oh, sorry, skip that. He thought it might be time to let go pretty soon, but he faithfully continued holding on. Every once in a while, his hand got tired, and he'd switch between his right and his left. Even so, as promised, he didn't let go of her hand. At that time, there was a heavy knock. Eva had finally been able to fall asleep, so Hideyoshi grimaced for just a moment.
Aniki! Hideyoshi-san! すまねえ。
Aniki? Hideyoshi? Sorry.
ローザはそこにいるか?
Is Rosa there? It was Rudolph's voice. What could it be? Hideyoshi headed for the door, hiding his footsteps so that it wouldn't wake Eva. It was definitely Rudolph's voice, but just in case he opened the door without removing the chain.
なんや、
What is it?
ローザさんがどないかしたんか?
Something happened to Rosa?
ローザとマリアちゃんの姿が見えないんだ
We。can't find Rosa or Maria.
一緒にいるかと思って。
I thought they might be with you.
廊下で叱っとったの聞こえたで。
I heard her scolding Maria in the
その
corridor.
後静かになったからロビーに戻ったと思っとったんだが。
They got quiet after that. I thought they'd gone back to the lobby, did they?
あのバカ。
Idiot. Rudolph clicked his tongue. Other people could be seen in the corridor. Rosa hadn't returned for a while after going out into the corridor, so they began worrying. Near the front door, Natsuhi pointed at the unset chain.
チェーンは開いてますし、
The chain isn't set.
やっぱりバラを見に
They
表へ
must
行
have
った
gone
のでしょう。
outside to see that Rosa after all.
鍵を開けっぱなして出ていくなど、不用心が過ぎるな。
How extraordinarily careless to go out and leave the door
困っ
unlocked.
たやつだ。
What a troublesome person.
それより今はローザさんとマリアちゃんの身
I'm
が
more
心
worried
配よ。
about Rosa and Maria themselves. Who knows how many hours they decided to spend in that rose garden because Maria wouldn't leave till she found her rose.
だな。
Right.
おいガキども。
Hey
マ
brats,
リアちゃんのバラってのはどこにあったんだ？
where was this rose of Maria's?
確かあれはバラ庭園の真ん中の花壇だったと思います。
It was in the flower bed right in the middle of the rose garden.
あの二人がそこにいるなら行けばすぐにわかるはずです。
If that's where they are, we should be able to spot them pretty quickly if we go.
親父、すぐに連れ戻した方がいいだろうぜ。
Dad, shouldn't we bring them back here as soon as we can? No way you're bringing Maria. She will literally scream.
当たり前だ。
Of
二
course.
人とも連れ戻
We'll
して。
bring them back and give them a
お
good
尻ペン
spanking.
ペンしてやるぜ。俺が一っ走り行ってくる。
I'll dash out there and come
俺が
back.
出たらすぐに鍵をしろよ。
Lock the door as soon as I go out.
親父、俺も
Dad,
付き合うぜ。
I'm going with you.
バカ抜かせ。
Don't be stupid.
ガキはママとお留守番って相場が決まってら。
It's obviously a brat's job to watch over the house with Mama.
どうしたの？
What is
何
it?
かあったの？
Did something happen?
すまんな、起こしてしまった。
Sorry, did I wake you up?
ローザさんがマリアちゃんを連れて表へ出たらしい。
It seems Rosa took Maria outside.
なんとも不用心なこっちゃ。
ローザとマリアちゃんが
Rosa and Maria
表へ
outside
バラ庭園へ
in the rose garden?
そうや。
That's right.
ああ、聞こえとった
Did
か。
you hear? Maria was causing a ruckus because she wanted to see this rose.
ダメよ
They mustn't.
バラ庭園に行っちゃダメ
They mustn't go to the rose garden.
ローザを呼び止めて
Tell Rosa to
よ
stop.
呼び止めるもなんもうずいぶん前に出て行っとるよう
There's
や。
no telling her to stop now. It looks like they left a while
ま
ago.
ったく不用心な
How
話
reckless
や。
of them.
違うのバラ庭園はダメ
Not it.
あ
Not
そ
the
こに
rose
は魔
garden.
女がいる
There's the witch
そ
thing.
して生贄を待ってる
He's waiting for
ロ
us.
ーザ行っちゃダメ
Rosa, you mustn't go. Ava cowered again, holding her head. Her complexion looked bad.
どうしたんや。
Oh, what's that?
熱にうなされて
Did the fever
何
make you
か
dream something bad?
夢
The dream.
よね
Yes.
バラ庭園で魔女がローザたちを
In the rose garden, the witch doing that to Rosa and Maria.
そういう
Right.
夢
Wait, it's a dream.
Leone?
Yeah, sure, dream.
落ち着くの部屋に
Calm
は
down,
足
I'm in
も
this
チ
room.
ェーンもかかっとる。
The chain's
窓
set.
かて鎧戸が下ろしてあるし、銃まであるん
The
や。
shutter's closed. We even got a
こ
gun.
の部屋はさながら
room's
よ
like
さ
a fort.
なんも
There's
恐れ
nothing to be
ることなん
afraid
かあらへん。
Hideyoshi beat his chest trying to calm her, but Ava's insecure expression didn't change. Under the covers, Ava kept praying that the grotesque nightmare she just had was only a dream. Rudolph goes solo. Another sacrifice?
ルドルフがバラ庭園中央
In
に
the center of the rose garden, Rudolph identified the corpses of Rosa and Maria.
その後ゲストハウスに戻って応援を呼び両名をゲストハウスに運び込みました
After that, he returned to the guest house, called for help, and carried both of them into the guest house.
南條の検視を信頼できるならばローザの死因は円髄部への柵の先端部分による死
If
突
we trust Nanjo's examination, the cause of Rosa's death was a stab to the medulla oblongata with the pointed gate of the fence.
マリアについては
It's
素
thought
手によ
Maria's
る
death
考
was
察
due
と
to
考えられ
strangling
ま
with
す
bare hands.
ただし悪魔の証明により誤診率は否定できま
However,
せん
due to the devil's proof, we cannot discount a misdiagnosis.
わらわが赤にて語る
I'll say it in
ロ
red.
ーザとマリアは死亡した
Rosa and Maria
死因
died.
は男女の見立て通
The
り
causes of death are as Nanjo diagnosed. What, not shock from dying repeatedly over and being resurrected over and over? Can't say that one in red text? Interesting.
雲にも食われておらんしケーキの山に潰されたわけで
She
もな
wasn't
い
eaten by a spider or crushed by a mountain of
安
cake.
心せよ
Don't worry.
あれだけ死をもてあそび死体が綺麗だからいい
Taking
だ
a
ろう
drink.
って
Thanks for the
ことだ
drink.
よ
Thank you for the drink. Alright. You think... You argue even though you toy with their death so much, it's all fine because the corpse is neat and clean? But Battler, have you not forgotten? You're allowed to reject the scene entirely and only go with the state it's at when other people inspect it. So, from your perspective, none of those things happened, and in fact your proof should be, well, looks like... you could easily say this is a murder-suicide where Maria keeps screaming and Rosa... Maria keeps screaming, Rosa has it up to fucking here with her, murders. Maria realizes what she did and commits suicide. That could be your argument. A pretty clean argument, as there's no proof that they were murdered repeatedly and resurrected via magic. In fact, you could basically add a scene like that to literally anyone's death ever. Be like, oh, this guy got murdered in his own home? Well, it's like, oh, this person hasn't been seen in 5 minutes. They are being repeatedly murdered and resurrected by a witch. Like, I don't know. I'm in my apartment alone right now. For all my parents know, I am being murdered and resurrected repeatedly by a witch until they call me. At which point the witch puts me on the line and tells me it'll be even worse if I say anything, repeat ad nauseum until they actually visit me. So, easy argument here. Easy argument. It's fine because the corpse is neat and clean now, but Battler, the scene didn't happen. She's just describing gratuitous... a scene of gratuitous violence for her own amusement. Isn't that the whole premise of your argument?
俺は絶対に許
I
さねえ
definitely
ぞ
won't forgive you.
ローザおばさんに対する無残な仕打ちの数々。
I definitely won't forget all the brutal treatment you gave Aunt
絶
Rosa.
対に忘れねえし許さねえ。
だから
Like I said, it
あれは
wasn't
わ
me.
らわではないというに。
Well, that's one way to say it. Okay.
あやつの仕打ちに比べたらはるかに安らかな死
Probably
を
a
与え
more
たはず。
peaceful death than the way she treated them. Yeah, but you still murdered them. That's hardly better.
うるさいた。お前とは口を聞かない。
Shut up. I'm not talking to you. I'm going with the murder-suicide, and then you have to disprove that. Be like, well, you know, Rosa's really violent with Maria. Perhaps she finally fucking snapped because they're in a life-or-death situation. There's multiple... She has at least one sibling, and possibly the sibling's husband, who want to murder her now. You can just say that. I mean, it sounds weird to have people snap and kill someone, but, like, it's not something she could disprove.
18人しか島にいないと言い切られ、すでに8人が死んでいる以上、
It's stated that there are no more than 18 people on this island now that 8 are
容
already
疑者は
dead.
10人に絞られる。
We can narrow the suspects down to 10
その
people.
中の誰かが殺したってんだろ。
One of them probably killed those two. Oh, even more interesting. You're not jumping to the conclusion? Impaled self on fence after strangling their daughter is like the most straightforward explanation here, dude.
あるいは事故死かもな。
Could it be an accidental? No, it could be suicide. Ask if it's suicide.
マリアが発作的に泣きわめき、
Mari's having
そ
a
れを泣き
tantrum.
止まそうとしたローザおばさんは力の加減を誤ってつい殺してしまったとか。
When Aunt Rosa tried to stop her crying, she misjudged how much power she was using and accidentally killed
それ
her.
で動転して滑って転んで柵に倒れて運悪く死んでしまった。
Okay, well, he's going with something close enough. She was so upset she slipped and fell, landed on the fence, unluckily died.
これで魔女の魔法も出番なしだ。
That way there's no need for a witch or magic.
ああ、そういうわけではないぞ。
No, like, it's not quite true.
実はだな。
Actually,
ローザ
Rosa
と
and
マリア
Mario...
は
うるさい。
Shut up.
お前とは口を聞かないと言っている。
Didn't I say I wasn't talking to you?
目障りだから消えろ。
You're an eyesore,
Pokemon.
disappear. Monster. Battler said that without rage, but with a horribly cold voice. The strange behavior was something Beato had noticed right off the bat. In a fight, both of them could go at each other without restraint. However, he wouldn't even step into the ring. She could feel the coldness. She didn't find that amusing. She thought about flaring up, but she held back. Maybe even though she was innocent and childish, she'd had enough sense to realize she shouldn't pick fights.
そうかよ。
Is that
なら
so?
姿を
I'll
消す殿
vanish.
へ。
Renovate continue.
続きを引き継げ。
かしこまりました。よろしいですか？
Will that be
マトさん。
satisfactory, Battler Summon?
問題のない申し出です
There are no problems with her proposal.
バトラ君がベアとの顔を見たくないというならそれもありかと
Perhaps that will do.
好きにしろよ。
Do as you like.
その化け物の顔を見なくて済むなら何だって構わないぜ。
If I can live without seeing that monstrous face, I don't care about anything else.
なあ、ちょっと待てよ。
Hey, wait a second.
さっきから化け物と。わらわはひどい言
Keep
われよう
saying
ではない
monster,
か
but。isn't that a cruel way to speak of me? Didn't you? Even if you disregard all of the people dying in this cinematic, aren't you, didn't you murder him, like, how many times did the sisters kill him? They just nagged on you to resurrect him and then he got killed again? I mean, I wouldn't really think you're a nice person.
なぜにわらわはそこまでバトラに毛
Why
嫌
do
い
you
されねばなら
instinctively
ぬ
hate
と
me
いう
that
の
much,
か。
Battler? Like, I mean, I just gave him a good argument. It's like, okay, well, let's see. You did kill me in real life. And, oh, that, like, you or someone killed me in real life. And then, oh, in this afterlife, you just have your sisters torture me to death repeatedly for your own amusement. And theirs. Like, how about we start with that? Why do you not like me? Well, you see, it's pretty painful being around you for even 5 minutes.
あれらはすべてわらわではなく、わらわの弟子の仕業
Even
で
though
あろ
none
う
of
が
it。was me. Even though it's all the work of my disciple.
別に俺はさっきのことだけで腹を立ててるわけじゃねえぜ。
And now he's talking to her directly. I thought we weren't talking to her, Battler. Be consistent. Battler's bad at the silent treatment. It's not like I'm only mad about what happened just
一
now.
番最初からだ。
It's been like that from the beginning.
なあ、誤解するなよ。
Don't misunderstand
わら
you.
わとそなたはゲームを通して対峙し合うプレイヤー同士なだけではないか。
Aren't we just a pair of players confronting each other through a game?
互いに相手を苦しめるために指し手を探るが。
We look for moves to make things painful for each other, but
勘違いするな。
Beatrice. You don't even have anyone you care about in this game. They're not the avatars of your friends or family dying. Surely even that means you're not on an even playing field. The only thing he can do is make insults at your wit. Or lack thereof.
俺はお前が魔女を認める認めないのおかしなゲームのライバルだから嫌ってるんじゃない。
I don't hate you because you're my rival in this strange game, but whether or not I accept you as a witch,
お前の無意味に残酷なところが
I just can't forgive how senselessly cruel you are.
そりゃ連続殺人を通しての
But
ゲーム
serial murders are part of this game. Outside of the game,
多少は残酷になるのはやむを得まいだろうに。
probably impossible to avoid a little cruelty.
さっきのことだけじゃない。
I'm not talking about what just happened.
前回だって前々回だって
There was the last time and the time before that
みんなの
too.
腹を裂いてお菓子を詰め込んだり顔面を耕したり
Tearing everyone's stomachs open and stuffing them with sweets, plowing
そ
their
れに
faces.
何の意味があったって
What's the point of all that?
それはまあ
Well, that's
密室殺人だのトリックだのアリバイだの
in a closed room, tricks and murder
そこまでは
alibis.
100歩譲ってやる
I'm willing to give you a pass.
お前は魔法殺人だと主張したいんだから
You want to claim it's a murder done by
そういう
magic?
手の込んだ事件を起こさざるを得ないことを
I
100歩譲っ
grudgingly
て理
accept
解
those
してやっても
complicated
いい
crimes need to occur.
しかしあれらのグロテスクな殺人に一体どれほどの意味がある
What
というの
exactly is
か
the point of all these grotesque murders? I mean, you could be trying to prove that a murderer is magic by making it impossible to have done in such a short period of time or with such precision that it could be real. That is something you could do for an exceptionally grotesque murder, but she hasn't done that yet.
それはその
Well,
別に
nothing much.
そうさ
That's right.
何の意味もない
They don't mean
お前
anything.
はただ悪ふざけで死者を切り刻んで
You're
面
just
白がってい
fooling
る
around
だ
by
けだ
mangling the corpses for fun?
それは魔女だからとか魔法じゃなきゃできないからとかそういうのじゃない
It has nothing to do with whether you're a witch or whether it could or couldn't be done with magic. I don't know. The Halloween party for Mario I thought was actually pretty good, to be honest. That was actually like a good one where it was like, okay, we got some like messed up mutilations, but it's like sort of on theme, and it seems like it's bordering on an impossible death. That one was actually okay. It was just like, how on earth did they even achieve the murder? That was like an interesting one, I thought. Like, you don't even have to get to the fucking locked room dilemma before you're like, ooh, that's crazy. How could this be done in real life? And you sit there trying to puzzle it out, right? That was kind of cool. This one, a few of the other ones, a little bit less so, but still, like, most of them weren't that crazy.
ただお前が面白半分に残酷の限りを尽くしているだ
You're
け
just
なんだ
exploring the depths of cruelty for fun.
それはお前が魔女だからとかそういうことじゃない
It's not about whether you're a witch or anything
た
like
だ
that.
ただ人として許せ
There's
ない
just
ものが
some
ある
things
か
I
らだ
can't forgive. As a human?
なんだよ
What do you mean as
そ
a
の
human?
人としてってやつは。
例えば
For
今
example,
回のゲームの第1の番の6
the
人
6 people of the first Twilight for this game,
まあじい様の黒焦げはともかく
other than grandfather being burned
他の5
black,
人の死体は不要に死者を恥ずかしめない
the
普
other
通の
6
殺し方
corpses
だっ
were
た
killed in a normal way without any unnecessary shaming of the dead.
凶器が槍だか銃だかははっきりしないがとにかく殺しの中じゃまだ許容できるマシなも
It
のだっ
wasn't
た
clear whether the weapon was a spear or a gun, but anyway, as far as killing goes, it was
前
acceptable.
回前々回の第1の番での非常識さ残酷さに比べればはるかにマシだっ
Was
た
it better though? I mean, I think it was similarly fine. It was better than the nonsensical grotesqueness and cruelty from the first Twilight last time or the time before that. I think the first Twilight was like a bit strange because it wasn't clear what caused it. But it might have been like unnecessary mutilation post-death. I think they were suspecting that they weren't killed with like whatever caused their faces to be messed up, and they were just outright killed, and then like that was done post-mortem. That's what I was guessing happened or something like that, but whatever.
そして今回の6つの密室をつなげた 連鎖密室。
This time there were 6 closed rooms tied together to make a closed room chain.
まあまあ面白かったぜ。
That was sort of interesting. That was alright.
あれをお前とやりとりしてるときは、今だから白状するが、少しだけ楽しいと。
When we were going back and forth with each other that time, to be perfectly honest, I thought it was a little fun. Yeah, I thought it was alright too.
自分の存在を認めさせようと必死になるお前と、それを否定しようと必死になる俺。
You were frantic trying to make me accept your existence. I was frantic trying to
どっ
deny
ち
it.
も必死で全力だ。
We were both frantically doing all we could.
おかしな話だが。俺はお前との間に、
It might sound weird,
さ
but
さ
I
や
felt
かな
this
スポーツマン
faint
シップ
sense of
さえ感じたもの
sportsmanship
さ。
between the two of us.
俺とお前は相入れない存在だが、
We exist in
全
conflict.
く理解できない存在でもないかもしれないと。
But I thought we
Wazka
might not be
no
able to might not be completely unable to understand each other's existence. Okay.
だが、その気持ちは、ついさっき、
But just
み
now
じ
that
んも
feeling
残ら
was
ずに
blown
吹き飛
away
んだ。
without a trace.
だからそなたは誤解しておる。
That's what you're misunderstanding?
あれはわらわではなく、
It wasn't me.
違う。
That's me.
俺はそういう話をしてるんじゃない。
Not what I'm talking about.
お前は、ローザおばさんがひどい殺し方を何度も何度も繰り返されるのを見て、
You watched Aunt Rosa being killed horribly over and
面
over?
白い見せ物だと
And you
嘲笑
sneered
っ
like
た
it。was an interesting show? Oh, is that what happened? I got the impression of that from Beatrice, what's I gonna say? Reprimanding Ava, but I didn't actually read that. When I saw that, I was deeply disappointed
お
in
前
you.
が今回、少しはマシな殺し方を選んだのは、何かのちょっとした気まぐれなんであって、
When I realized your decision to kill them in a slightly better way at this time was nothing more than a faint
本
whim.
来の残酷な性分には、何の変わりもないんだと
That
分かっ
nothing
て。
changed in your cruel character. I was deeply disappointed. Battler saying I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
それどころか、お前は残酷な死を純粋に楽しんでさえい
On the
る。
contrary, you were even genuinely enjoying those brutal deaths.
俺に意地悪をするためだけに残酷を尽くしてるんじゃない。
You weren't just acting as cruel as you could to
お
bully
前
me.
は本当に純粋
You
に
truly,
残酷を
genuinely
楽しんで、
enjoy cruelty.
楽しめる性分なん
Your
だ。
character lets you enjoy it.
お前は、ローザおばさんが何度もむごたらしく殺されているのを、
You said I'd
俺
probably
に
think Aunt
楽しい
Rosa
だろ
being
うと言っ
brutally
た。
killed over and over was fun.
嫌味で言ったんじゃない。
And you weren't
それ
joking.
を俺にも共感してほしくて、楽しいだろうと言ったんだ。
You enjoyed it from the bottom of your heart. You wanted me to sympathize and said I'd probably think it was fun.
その瞬間、俺は失望し、
In that instant, I lost respect for you and realized the truth.
お前が魔女だとかそうでないとか、
The problem isn't whether you're a witch or not.
お前のそ
I
の
won't
残酷
forgive
さが
that
許
cruelty
せ
of
ない。
yours.
そして理解できない。
And I can't
許
understand
すこ
it.
ともできない。
I can't forgive it either. Well,
Daga.
it is what it is.
魔女を認めるか否定するかというゲームは続ける。
I'll continue this game of whether to accept or deny
自ら降
wishes.
りて敗北を認
I
めた
won't
りは
step
しない
down
さ。
and accept my own defeat.
だが、そのゲームに、お前の無意味な残酷さは何の必要もない。
However, your pointless cruelty is absolutely unnecessary for
だ
that
から
game.
俺は、お前を対戦相手として認めないことに
So I
する。
decided I'm not going to accept you as my
ロノベ
opponent.
の方が100倍マシだ。
Ronobe is 100 times better. Wow, get shit on. You're like, I'm not playing you. I'm going to play Ronobe. Because not only does he make interesting murders and puzzles, but he's fun to argue with.
お前のような残酷趣味はない。
He doesn't have the same cruel hobbies you do. Imagine being like, man, I'd rather debate magic I'd rather have my family murdered by a literal demon than you. Feels bad, man. Like, a literal archdemon is a nicer person than you. Fucking savage.
あったとしても、俺の前でそれをひけらかす悪趣味はない。
Even if he does, he doesn't have the awful taste to show it off in front of me.
そうさ。お前は悪
That's
趣味
right. You have awful
だ。残
taste.
酷で心がなく。だから
Your
理解
taste-
することができない。
Badler just calling her out for having shit taste. You're heartless and cruel, so you can't
相手
understand.
として不快だ。
It's unpleasant in an
だ
opponent.
から俺はお前の顔を
So I don't want to
二
see
度
your
と見
face
たくな
again.
い。
As Badler went on and on by himself, Banto was shocked into silence for a long time. Maybe she couldn't understand what she was being told. Still can't tell if it's a lack of empathy or just actually being a narcissist. This was a sign she was doing all she could in an effort to understand. For a while, she kept switching between angry expressions, frustrated expressions, bold expressions, as though she herself didn't know what attitude she's supposed to take. In the end, she made her face into a candid expression as though she had come to her senses. She shrugged her shoulders as though she was tired.
なら好きにすればよい。
In that case, do as you
わ
like.
らわは以後、ロノウェを通してゲームを続けることにする。
From now on, I'll continue the game through Ronove.
わらわ
Alright.
が姿を見せないのであれば、文句ないであろ
You have no complaints as long as I don't show myself, right?
とりあえずはな。
For the time being.
お前の重ねてきた残酷な行為の数々を。
I definitely won't forgive all your
俺
cruel
は
actions
絶
until
対
then.
に言う。だから絶対にお前を認めない。
And I won't accept
そ
you.
のためにも。お前に売られた喧嘩を俺から降りない。
For that reason as well, I won't back down from this fight you
そして
picked.
絶対に負
And
け
I
ない。
won't lose.
それだ
Alright.
けだ。
That's all there is to it.
ベアと、これ以上言い訳を重ねても彼の心象は変わりませんよ。
No matter how many excuses you give, his impression will not waver.
後で話があります。
I have something to talk about
それ
later.
まで下がっていなさい。
Till then, stay back.
う。
Indeed.
わかった。
Understood.
それでは呼ばれるまで
And so, I
姿を消
think
して。
she's intentionally speaking quietly here, but she says, understood, I'll vanish until you call. And she's gone. Looking lonely, Beato turned her back to them and vanished. Battler watched, a slightly displeased expression on his face. He thought his argument had been valid, but for some reason his mood didn't clear up.
あいつはバカだろ。
An idiot.
そうですね。バカ
True.
で素直
An
で
idiot
す。
and a straightforward one.
あのバカ。ローザおばさんが残酷に殺されるところを俺と見て。
That idiot watched Aunt Rosa get
満
killed
面の笑み
horribly
で振り
with
返
me,
りやがった。
and then turned around with a huge smile on her face.
あの残酷症も。本気で俺と笑い合えると
She
信じて
really
やがっ
believed
た
she
んだ
could laugh with me in that cruel
俺と
show?
その感情を共有できると。
And that I'd
本
sympathize
気
with
で
that
信じてや
emotion?
がった。あの無邪気な笑顔を見て、俺は最低な気持ちになったぜ。
Looking at that innocent smile, I just felt
む
horrible.
しろこれまでのように、意地悪な面で言われた方がずっとマシだった。
It would have been better if she said it with her normal bullying
Six.
face. Damn it.
お嬢様は友達というものを持った試しの
The
ない
lady has
方
never
で
had
す。
the experience of having a friend. She is 1,000 years old. I am certain she had a friend in the last 1,000 years.
それどころか、あれほど強く物を言われたことさえ
She's
なか
probably
った
never
でしょ
had something spoken to her that strongly. I also doubt that, as she's killed hundreds of people for her own amusement.
私もマダムも
Madam and I
共
are
に
her
付き人
attendants.
何を申し上げてもお耳には届きま
No
せん。
matter what we say, it won't reach her
お嬢
ears.
様にはこれも
From a lady, this is also...
ふざけるな。
I don't
俺はあ
screw
いつ
with
の
me.
友達になった覚えはないぞ。
I don't remember becoming her friend.
そうでございますね。
True enough, we are not friends. Battler is a hostage.
失礼いたしました。
My apologies.
一つだけあなたに感謝を。
There's one thing I'd like to thank you
あの
for.
子のゲームを降りないでくれて。
Thank you for not
あり
backing down from that child's game. She spoke words of gratitude, but for some reason, Battler made a displeased face. And then, as though in self-derision, he chuckled.
魔女やら悪魔やらに礼を言われるようになっちゃ。俺もおしまいだな。
Now that I've even got witches and demons thanking me, I'm screwed.
ゲームを再開しようぜ。
Let's resume the
も
game.
ちろん。手心を加え
Of
るつ
course,
も
I
りは
don't
ないから
intend to
な。
go easy on you.
望むところです。
I wouldn't have it any
お
other
嬢
way.
様と違い、私は熱くはな
Unlike
り
my
ま
lady,
せ
I
ん。
don't get agitated.
俺の手はすでに刺したぜ。
Well, I've made my move.
ローザおばさんが犯人で、事故死と仮定すれば、魔女は否定できる。
If we assume Rose is the culprit and died in an accident, I can
ロ
deny the
ーザ
witch.
おばさんを疑いたくはないが、ベアトをぶっ潰すために、
I don't want to accept.
今はあえてそうだと仮定する。
I don't want to suspect Aunt Rosa, but I think I can bear to accept that premise if it'll beat the hell out of Beato.
赤で否定を行います。
I will deny with red.
ローザとマリアの二人は他殺です。
Rosa's and Maria's deaths were homicides. Seems fair. I would say Ava and Hideyoshi were not actually in their rooms the whole time.
よし。そこから始めよ
Let's
うじゃ
start
ねえ
from
か。
there. Did Ava and Hideyoshi leave their rooms and murder them while nobody was paying attention because they were the only people near the door? And it was an extended period of time, long enough for other people to notice that they'd been missing and not making a ruckus for such a long time that they searched the entire house for them and didn't find them before knocking on their door. Let's start from there.
くそ。盛り上がらねえぜ。
I'm just not getting fired up. He said he wasn't getting fired up, right? Not that he was? Yep. With Rosa and Maria's deaths, it was now clear the culprit was still hiding somewhere, trying to add even more murders to this chain. As he shed tears, Rudolph scolded Rosa's corpse for being reckless several times. Yeah, I'd be scolding her corpse too, especially knowing what I did. I mean, the easiest conclusion is that Ava and Hideyoshi murdered them so they can get all of the gold. The classic greed murder motive. It seems pretty straightforward and nothing is disproving it since they kind of skipped the actual discussion of this case. Possibly waiting to see if Hideyoshi and Ava get murdered next. Seems unlikely given the magical narrative of the story. Rosa would never respond to that again. They decided to place the two corpses in one of the guest rooms and seal it until the police arrived. The second murder, or murder of the second Twilight, had delivered a heavy blow to everyone. It had blown away the optimism some of them had held. The thought that a crime didn't actually occur and that it was all a game or a farce by Kinzo and the servants, trying to distract themselves from the loss of the people they liked. George and Jessica spent the whole time since morning talking about every possibility. And they distracted their hearts by supposing that these murders might actually have all been an act, and that Shannon and Canon were only pretending to be dead. When the next murder occurred, it destroyed that thought, and they were once again struck by the fact that the person they liked had most definitely been killed. Well, why don't you try to solve the puzzle? The tears that they thought had died began to drip down once more, and Battler couldn't think of anything to say to them. Can someone else find the Golden Land? After that, the adults checked that all the rooms were safe and locked just in case. They made certain that the shutters on all the windows were down and locked, and they confirmed that no one suspicious was hiding anywhere. On top of that, they checked their weapons once again, and checked with each other to make sure they were mentally prepared so they wouldn't hesitate to fire off a preemptive shot if they saw the shadow of a mysterious person. Rosa's gun had been found near the scene of the crime. Someone had gone out of their way to leave it there, so everyone suspected it was some kind of trap. But when Hideyoshi delicately used a fire iron to fire off test shots, it was able to discharge without incident. So, since the 5 shots loaded into it discharged without any problems, they reloaded it with bullets and handed it over to the only adult male who wasn't armed, Hideyoshi. That's a terrible idea. The fact that they'd been able to fire off 5 shots gave rise to a certain paranoia. The short barrel Winchester could only hold 5 shots. In other words, Rosa hadn't fired even once. And yet the two had probably been killed by someone with their bare hands. This meant there was a possibility the crime had been committed by someone whose face they knew.
最初の殺人が起きた時、
When the first murder
私は
occurred,
内心これが全て芝居である可能性を考
I
えた
thought
の。
of the possibility it was all an act.
南條先生には悪いけど、実は南條先生もグルで、
My apologies to Dr. Nanjo, but if he'd actually been an
何かお父
accomplice,
様が凝りに凝った大芝居を打った可能性もあると思った。
I thought the deaths of all the servants might possibly have been an elaborate act by father.
だって彼らの密室状況は彼らの自作自演を想定しない限り
After all, the
生み出
closed
せな
room
いのだ
situation they were in couldn't have been created unless we supposed it was an act.
僕たちも
We also
それを疑いました。いえ
suspected、that. No,
今も
I still
そ
want
う
to
であっ
believe
て
that's
ほ
the
しいと
case.
信じてます。
申し訳ないがそれはあ
My
りません
apologies, but that's not so.
私も老いぼれです
I'm quite
誤
old.
診もあるかもしれない
I might make a misdiagnosis.
しかし生き死にを間違える
I
ような
never
ことは
mistake whether they're
絶
alive
対
or
にない
dead.
分かってるよ。
Get it, I get it.
わざわざそれを口に出すなよ、南
Well,
條
you
先
might,
生。
you might be onto something. Don't go out of your way to say it out loud, Dr. Doncho.
すみません。
My apologies. They had no way of knowing, but Beato had already used the red to proclaim the deaths of the six. No, the deaths of all victims so far in this game. The faint dream that it was a farce and that the victims were actually alive. I'm sorry to say, but it's impossible.
となりゃこの島に屋敷に精通した何
In
者か
that
が
case, it
潜ん
makes
で
more
いて
sense to assume it's someone familiar with the
練りに
mansion.
練った犯行を実行したと考
Someone
える
hiding
方
around
が
and
自
carrying
然
out
だ
a
ろう。
well-polished
つ
crime.
まりこの島には台風が来て外界と途絶された時点で
So, ever since the typhoon came to this island,
18
sealed it off from the outside world, there's been more than 18 people here. Of course, there's no way for them to know about that either. He's assuming outside people, and I'm assuming that it would be very easy for Eva and Hideyoshi to have just murdered them. Hideyoshi or Eva shove Rosa and strangle Maria. It seems like a really easy explanation. And then they go rest in their room and pretend that they're sleeping. It's pretty easy. Nobody checks because they have to knock to check on them because they're presumably sleeping. So they just wait until nobody's in the hallway, come in, and they're done. The lobby is far from the door, but their room apparently isn't. So this seems like a really easy setup for a quick murder and getaway. They possibly could have just opened the window into their own room too. I don't remember if their room was on the... I think their room's on the first floor. So maybe that's what they did. If they have a first floor room that has a window, they could have just snuck in through the window. They wouldn't even have had to take the door. But they probably left it unchanged so that it was clear that Rosa went outside. That claim of Rudolph's had also been denied in red. There's no more than 18 people on this island.
こう考えると少しは辻褄が合うのかしら。
I might have a way to look at it that keeps things consistent at
つ
least
ま
a
り
little.
隠れ潜んでいる何者かは本来は今島にいるはずのない人物。
Simply put, this person in hiding is someone who shouldn't really be on this island
に
right
も
now.
かかわらずローザさんが油断するような
That they were
顔見
someone
知りの
Rosa
人
knew.
物である可能性よ。
Someone she'd let her guard down around.
それは
For
例えば
example,
この2日間のシフトに当たっていない使用人などですか。
a servant who wasn't on this 2-day shift?
それを言われると弱いな。
It's hard to be certain about that one.
我々は勤務を終えた彼らが離島するのを切符切りのように確認しているわけではない。
When our servants finish their work and leave the island, it isn't as though we punch their ticket or something to make
数
sure.
日前のシフトの使用人が離島したふりをして島内に留まっていたかもしれないと仮定
If
し
was
た。
opposing a servant from a shift a few days ago only pretended to leave the island and actually
否定
stayed
する
here,
のは難
it
しい
would be
ね。
hard to deny.
ローザさんもアホちゃうと思うで。
I don't think Rosa is such a
いる
fool.
はずのない使用人がひょっこり姿を現したら普通は警戒バリバリや。
I don't think Rosa's such a fool. If a servant who wasn't supposed to be here popped up in front of you, who wouldn't be on their guard?
顔見知りの犯行と決めつけるのもどうかと思うわ。
I'm not even sure we should be assuming it was someone she recognized.
暗がりから突然ローザが襲われて銃を奪われそうになった。
Maybe they suddenly attacked Rosa from the darkness and were about to
そ
steal
したら
her
ローザが
gun.
転んで柵に頭を打ち動かなくなった。
Rosa fell, hit her head against the fence, and stopped
ゲスト
moving.
ハウスが近かったので銃声を嫌い素手でマリアちゃんを殺したと
The
か。
guest house was nearby. They wanted to avoid the sound of gunfire, so they killed Mari with their bare hands.
そういう可能性もあるな。
There's that possibility.
そうだとしてもだ。
Even if that's the case.
現場にわざわざローザの銃を残していくだろうか。
Would they really intentionally leave Rosa's gun at the scene of the crime?
犯人が何を武装しているか知らねえが、こちらの銃は不安要素のはずだ。
Don't know about what the culprit's armed with, but they gotta feel insecure about our guns. I mean, I'm just saying, if you were Hideyoshi and Eva, why would you care about the guns when the person who's gonna get the gun is, like, almost guaranteed to be Hideyoshi? There's only, like, two choices, right? Like, think about this. You know, they're dead now. Where does Rosa's gun go? Probably to, it's like, these three have guns. Who's the next likely ones? Like, you could easily volunteer for this by being like, well, I'm a guy, I should take care of it, blah, blah, blah. You know, a good old Uncle Hideyoshi. Like, I think there's an okay argument to say that Hideyoshi is the most likely person to receive it. Or that, like, Hideyoshi could push for it and make sure he gets the gun. If there's only 4, remember? I think there's a decent argument that they could have gotten one. So, if you're, like, moderately certain you'll get the gun, then it seems perfectly reasonable to leave the gun around. You don't know what the culprits are with, they gotta feel insecure with guns? I don't think so. Wasn't that a perfect chance for them to thin out our supply? Why intentionally leave it at the scene of the crime?
私は初めその銃を罠だと思ったの。
First I thought the gun was a
チェ
trap.
ス盤思考だとそうなる。
That's what chessboard thinking says it should be.
わざわざ残した以上、私たちの誰かに手に取らせたい。
By leaving it, they want to make one of us touch it. Chessboard thinking can still say that if one of you is the murderer and the person who received
そ
the
して
gun.
引き金を引かせたいに違いない。
They must have wanted to make us pull the trigger.
てっきり暴発して大怪我を負わせるような危険な仕掛けがされてるに違いないと思ってたわ。
I was certain something dangerous must have been done to it to make it explode and cause massive injuries.
でも現に大丈夫や。
But it was actually okay.
おそらく犯人も焦っとったんとちゃうか。
Culprit probably
今
panicked.
頃銃を奪うチャンスを逃したことを後悔しとるに決まっとるで。
I bet right now they're regretting they missed their chance to steal a gun.
なんだか不愉快だな。銃なんか怖くもないっていう魔女のメッセージみたいでムカつ
It
くぜ。
ticks me off. It's like a message from the witch saying she isn't even scared of guns.
しかしいずれにせよ恐ろしい相手ですね。
In the event, it's truly a fearsome
ローザ
opponent.
さんが銃を持っていることははためにも分かったはず。
Even at a glance, they should have been able to tell Rosa had a gun.
にもかかわらず襲いかかるとは。
To think they attacked in spite of that.
銃を恐れないという点を私たちは軽視するべきではありません。
The fact that they're unafraid of guns should not be taken lightly. I mean, the fact that they spent a long time in the open with their back turned to their opponent is something else, right? It's one thing to be like facing down your opponent at the end of a long hallway where you have your gun raised and aimed at them, or, you know, somewhere where you can clearly see them. It's entirely another to be in incredibly poor weather with low visibility in an open field, not sure if you're being attacked or where you're being attacked from, and having to watch over someone else endlessly, hoping that your back's not going to be turned when your opponent makes their move from the moderate cover they have, because they do have a little bit of cover, right? In the form of the rose gardens. In the form of the gardens, they have a little bit of cover for their approach.
夏日の言う通りだ。
Says Natsuki
これまで
says.
以上に用心すべきだろう。
We should probably be more cautious than we were before.
念のためなんだけど、
Just for peace of
ロー
mind,
ザさん
but
たちが外に出たと思われる頃、
at the time we think Rosa was attacked
みんなは
outside.
どこにいたのかしら。
Where was everyone?
私と夏日、そしてルドルフとキリエさんはここで一緒だっ
Natsuki and I were here along with Rudolph and
た。
Kiria.
私がアリバイを保証する。
I can guarantee their alibis.
わしとエヴァも一緒だったで。
Ava and I were
わし
together.
が保証するわ。
I guarantee that.
俺とジョージの兄貴ジェシカも一緒だったぜ。
George, Aniki, Jessica, and I
ロ
were
ーザお
together.
ばさんに2階へ戻ってろと怒鳴られ、
When Aunt Rosa yelled at us to return to the
す
second
ごそう
floor,
といとこ部屋へ引き返したさ。
we retraced our steps back to the cousin's room, all dejected.
あの時
Back
マ
then,
リアを行かせな
we
ければ。
hadn't let Maria go.
それを言ってももうどうし
Saying
ようも
that
ないよ。
changes nothing. Again, suspicious people. Hideyoshi and Ava, pretty suspicious when everyone else is in groups together. Dumb idea to kill people? Yeah, but they might have done it anyway.
南條先生は
Dr. Nanja?
私は2階の部屋で本を読んでおりました。
Reading a book in a room on the second floor. I guess Nanjo's vaguely suspicious too.
一人でおりましたので、誰にもアリバイは証明できません
I
が
was by myself, so no one can verify my alibi. You're as suspicious as a couple, honestly. A couple that was already here and planned. A couple that was together before the island, perfectly reasonable to suspect. Especially if they had elaborate plans before coming to the island. Nanjo, vaguely suspicious too, because he's solo, but is what it is. Not everyone can have an alibi. I believe everyone saw me return to the second floor with the children. Once I say this, it'll never end. What if you jumped out the window, attacked Rosa, and then climbed back up using a rain gutter or something? Don't be afraid. How can I do that? How can I jump down from the second story or climb up with this old body? Good question.
やめましょう。
Let's stop suspecting each other. Of course, Natsuhi doesn't suspect anyone inside. Or
そ
she
れよ
does,
りも
wait. Why
互い
didn't
を
she?
信頼し合って子供たちのためにもここの安全を死守することの方が
It's
先
more
決です。
important we trust each other for the children's sake and defend this place until the very end. Well, that's gonna be awkward if two of you are murderers.
そうだ
You're right.
夏日さんの言う通り
As
だ
Natsuhi says.
今は内部を疑い合
For
う
now,
のを
let's
や
stop
めよう
suspecting each other.
そうね。犯人探しなんて私たちには無用かもしれないわ。
We may be useless as far as searching for the culprits concerned.
ただ明日まで生き残り警察に通報してその指示に従うだけ。
We can only stay alive until tomorrow, inform the police and follow their instructions. What happened to reading the epitaph, by the way? Anyone else just, like, confused why they're not talking about the epitaph? I know that's because Ava's already solved it and it's no longer a plot point for us, the viewer. Well, other than what the actual solution is. But what is their in-universe reason for Kyrie not discussing the epitaph again, or anyone bringing it up here? This is probably something that should be back on the table. Can we solve it? Did Rosa make some progress on it? Did she have any? Do you think she had any theories, like anything like that? That should probably be something they discuss here at some point, right? I know, like, I don't know whether they're gonna bring it up because I know it's sort of solved from like the puzzle perspective. It's sort of solved for like some of the people in the room already, so they're not gonna bring it up.
犯人が誰かなんて
The
警
police
察が必
will
ず
definitely
暴き出し
expose
て
who
く
the
れるのだ
culprit
から。
is.
どうしたんや、エヴァ。
What is it,
まだ
Ava?
体調が悪いんとちゃうか？
Is your body still feeling bad?
母さんどうした
What?
の？
What's wrong?
大丈夫？
Are you okay?
ごめんなさい。まだ熱が高いみたいなの。
It looks like my fever is still
大丈夫
strong.
だから放っておいて。
I'll be fine, leave me alone. When they looked, they saw Ava staring at the floor, her breathing harsh again. She'd been able to act firm for a time due to the urgency of their situation. But it seemed her body wasn't at its best after all.
ええ、あの二人は私が殺した。
I killed those two.
これで黄金のことを知っているのは
And
私
now
た
we're
ち
the
だけ。
only two who know about the gold.
他の兄弟たちにはかけら一つだって譲りは
Won't
し
even
ない
give up
の。
his craft to the other siblings.
なんてことを。
You tub- How many people are left to be sacrificed? 5? You think she would kill Hideyoshi as last? You think she kills Hideyoshi and says like everyone who could inherit it? No, she kills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kill her siblings and the next in line, theoretical next in line of Jessica, so that either herself or George inherit it. That makes sense to me. If she's gonna make picks based on who could have inherited stuff. Or who she hates, right?
あれだけの莫大な黄金なのよ。
What should you have done? There was just so much gold, right?
ローザたちに分け前をあげたって全く問題はなかったでしょうに。
Giving Rosa and the others a share wouldn't have been a problem at all, right?
あるわよ。
Oh, it would
あ
have.
れは後宮家の当主だけが引き継げる黄金なの。
That gold only goes to the head of the
だか
family.
らこそそれは全て丸ごと当主の栄誉そのものなの。
And that's because it, as a whole, represents no more or less than the honor of the head.
それにわずかほどでも傷をつける
To
こと
wound
は
that even a
こ
tiny
の
bit.
私新しき黄金の魔女メアトリーチェが絶対に に許さないわ。
Definitely not something I, the new Golden Witch Beatrice, will listen.
あなたは魔女の碑文通りに殺人を続けるつもりなの？
Are we planning on committing these murders according to the witch's
ま
appetite?
さかあと5人も人殺しを続けるつもりなの？
You plan to become a murderer 5 more times? Of course, of course.
その面倒な儀式を終えないと、私の魔女としての力は完全なものにならないらしい
If I
の。
don't finish that annoying ceremony, my powers as a witch won't become complete.
ねえ、私。
Hey me.
この魔女の力は本当にすごいわ。
Power of the witch is really
私たちが
awesome.
妄想してきた全てが本当に実現できる。
It really can make anything we imagine become
夢
reality.
が夢でなくなる力なの。
The ability to make dreams more than just
この
dreams.
力を知ってしまったら、もう魔女はやめられない。
Now that I've learned this, I can no longer stop being
儀
a witch.
式を完全に終えて、私の力が完全なものになれば、きっとそれをあなたにも教え
If
てあ
I
げら
finish
れ
the
るわ。
ceremony and make my power complete, I'm sure I'll be able to teach you the feeling.
バカなことはやめて！
How back do you
魔
like
女ごっこはもう十分でしょ？
Haven't you played at being a witch
私
enough?
たちは黄金を見つけたわ。
We found
そ
the
して
gold.
次期当主の座だって約束されてるわ。
We were even promised the position of
ほんの
successor.
少しの綱渡りは必要だろうけど、もうそれは絶対に叶う夢。
We probably just need to tightrope walk a bit, but by now, that's a dream that'll definitely
な
come
のに
true.
これ以上、あなたは何を望むという
Beyond that,
の？
what more could you wish for? Kraus will contest you.
私は魔女になりたかったわ。
I wanted to become a...
私、そんな夢なんか知らないわよ。
I don't give a damn about that dream.
そうよ。その夢を持ち続けてるから、私はこの年のままで生きながらえているの。
Because I kept holding on to that dream, I've lived at this age
あな
forever.
たはその夢を大人になることで捨てたわ。
And when you became an adult, you threw that dream away.
いくら待てども、時計を持ったウサギなど訪れないし、
No matter how long you wait, the rabbit holding a clock
ハ
won't
ンプテ
visit
ィ・
you.
ダンプティにも会えはしない。
And you won't be able to meet
も
Humpty
ちろん
Dumpty. Of course,
トランプの国に招かれたりも
you
絶
won't be
対にない。
invited to the land of the
あ
cards
なた
either.
はそう諦めてしまったから大人になったのよ。
You became an adult.
だからもう魔女になりたいなんて思わない。
You don't want to become a witch or anything like that.
それが本当の自分の夢であったことも忘れてしまったの。
You even forgot it was your own dream at one point.
とにかくやめて。
Anyway, stop it.
私はもう2つの夢を手に入れている。
I've gotten my hands on 2 dreams
黄金
already.
と当主の座。
The gold, the position of
そ
head.
れでもう十分なの。
It's
だ
more
から
than
お願い
enough.
あんたの夢なん
Your
て知った
dreams
ことじ
have
ゃな
nothing
い。
to do with me.
おとなしくしてて。
And down.
嫌よ。
Away.
面白いもの。
Magic's too interesting.
それにあなたの2つの夢は私の魔法のおかげで叶ったのよ。
So, those 2 dreams of yours came true because of my
な
magic.
のに私の夢は叶えてはいけないなんて
Wouldn't
不
be
公
fair if my
平
dream
よ。
didn't come true too.
あなたの魔法には感謝してるし、あなたこそが本当の魔女だと私は認めてるわ。
I'm grateful for your magic and acknowledge you're a real
だか
witch.
らもう
Stand down
おとなしく私の胸の中に帰
and
って、
return to the inside of my heart
そして二度と現れないで。
and never appear again. Yeah, good luck
い
with
や
that.
私たちお互いに勘違いしてるわね。
No way. We're both misunderstanding each other. Aren't
そうよ。
That's
私は
right.
もうあんたじゃないの。
we? Not you anymore.
あんたは後ろ宮エヴァ。
You're Ushiomi,
私は黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェ。
and I'm the Golden Witch Beatrice.
だからあんたの胸の中に帰る義理はないの。
It's not my responsibility to go back inside your heart.
さながらあなたという殻を脱皮して蝶になったような気分かしら。
I feel like a butterfly who's broken out of her cocoon, meeting you. I fear.
熱で意識が朦朧とす
I
る。
feel my mind cloudy.
私の魔力が未熟な分をあなたの正気で補ってるの。
My inexperience with magical power is forcing me to support it with your
私
vitality.
が儀式を終えて完全な魔女になるまであなたに負担をかけるかもね。
Unfortunate, but until I finish the ceremony to become a full witch, you might have to bear the burden.
それくらいは2つの夢を叶えてあげた対価ってことにしてもらうわよ。
I'll take it as payment for making the 2 of your dreams come true.
大丈夫。安心して。
It's fine. Don't worry, okay?
残る5人の生贄については、あんたの家族は外してあげ
The
るわ。
remaining 5 sacrifices, I'll avoid your family.
そうね。ルドルフ、キリエ、クラウス、夏日。
And Jessica?
あとは、老いぼれの南條なんかど
Oh,
う？
Nanjo. Nanjo's fine. Yeah, I was gonna say Rudolph, Kyrie, Kraus, and Natsuhi are the most obvious picks for the next deaths. If we go off of the witch being Eva Beatrice, then anyone else is up for grabs. I think Jessica's there still, though. She might be considered safe because without her parents, she has no power.
ちょうどいいわ。この5人を殺すわね。
Perfect. I'll kill those 5.
あなただけに明かす殺害予告ってところかしら。
Did you call this a murder announcement revealed only to you? Eva finally crouched down. Hideyoshi rushed up to her and leant her his shoulder.
大丈夫か？無理せんと休もう。
Let's take it easy and rest.
大丈夫かね？
Are you alright?
南條先生、エヴァを。
Nanjo, take a look at her. She's got a fever. When Nanjo and George tried to approach, she made a gesture to stop them.
ありがとう。
Thank you. Please, don't let me get examined by a doctor. I wouldn't want anyone to realize that I may or may not have faked some of my illness.
大丈夫よ、南條先生。
I'm fine,
薬なら
doctor.
飲んでるの。
I'm taking
こん
medicine.
な非常事態で申し訳ないけど。
I'm sorry for saying this during an extreme
もう
situation,
少しだ
but
け休ませてもらうわ。
let me rest a little longer.
母さん、僕も肩を貸すよ。
Mom, I'll lend a hand too.
ありがとう。お父さんが見ててくれるから平気
I'll
よ
be。fine as long as your father watches
あ
over
な
me.
たは2階のいとこ部屋に戻って決して出てこないように。
Go back to the second story cousin's room and don't come out no matter
いい
what.
わね。
Understood?
何があってもゲストハウスを出ちゃダメよ。
No matter what happens, don't leave the guest house.
外には
Outside.
あの魔女が。
That witch will...
もう喋るなや。
Don't talk anymore.
みんなすまんな。
Sorry, everyone.
わしはエヴァを部屋で看病しとる。
I'll watch over Ava in our room. Don't mind us, just committing
な
murder.
んかあったら呼んでや。
Tell us if something happens. Alright. Hideyoshi and Ava retreated from the lobby. However, Ava wasn't the only one who wasn't feeling good. They hadn't gotten a wink of sleep since the previous night and had been pressed by tension since the morning. They were mustering their strength to protect their families, but if they relaxed even a little, surely everyone would be down and out. Well, R.I.P. in peace, adult.
ここまでは順調であるが、ここからが難しいぞ。
Everything's gone as planned until now, but from here on out it'll be difficult, you see?
難しいとは？
Difficult? Meaning?
うん。
Indeed.
大抵の場合、儀式が進行するにつれ犠牲者が増えると、彼らは守りを固めるようになる。
Normally, as the ceremony progresses and the victims increase in number, they tighten their
多く
guard.
の場合、一ところに固まって動かなくなるのだ。
In most cases, they hole up in one place and stop
それ
moving.
は我らにとって非常に都合が悪い。
それは私たち魔女が群れた人間に劣るということですか？
Are you saying we witches are inferior to a bunch of humans in a group?
魔女が人間に劣ることはない。
Witches are never inferior to
ただ
humans.
時代が変わり、人間が毒を持つようになったというべきか。
However, you could say times changed and humans have gotten their hands on a poison.
大昔の魔法が信じられていた時代は
It
問題な
wasn't
かっ
quite
た
a
の
problem
だ
long ago when people believed in
が
witches.
現代人はあの小憎たらしいバトラがそうであるように
But
基本的に魔法を否定する。
just like that annoyance battler, people in the current era deny magic on a fundamental level.
つまりその結果、彼らはいつの間にか体内に魔法を否定する毒素を有するようになる。
Okay. So in other words, their existence itself is anti-magic. As a result, at some point they grew to possess a toxin in their bodies that denies magic.
つまり人間の数が多ければ多いほど
You're saying that, in other words, that the more humans there are,
その反魔法の毒素が強くなって私たち魔女には不利だとおっしゃられるのですか？
the stronger the magic resistance gets and the greater the disadvantage is for us witches.
彼らの魔法を否定する心の力、すなわち対魔法抵抗力の合計値が そのまま魔法力の分母となるわけだ。
The combined amount of power in their hearts that denies magic. In other words, their magic resistance becomes the denominator in the equation of your magical power.
わかるか？
Understand?
そなたにはちと難しいか？
Is that a bit difficult for you?
ご冗談を。
You're
実に
joking.
簡単にわかります。
I understand it
つまり
easily.
魔法を信じない人間が多ければ多いほど、
So in other words, you're saying the more people there are who don't believe in
そし
magic,
てその意志が強ければ強いほど、魔法は
And the
効果
stronger
を
their
劇的に助産され
the
るとおっ
more
しゃ
the
っておら
effects
れ
of
る
our
のです
magic
ね。
are divided. Yes, which also means that killing Maria is effective because Maria believes in magic, right?
なるほど。そのような計算式ならば、攻め方を考え直さなければなりません。
Yeah, if it's so formulaic, I'll have to rethink my method of attack. Fundamentally, magic possesses a vast power. Okay. You can even make a rain of fire fall from the heavens or divide a sea, and reviving a lost life isn't impossible either. However, the power is extremely weak against the toxin that rejects it. That toxin started piling up in humans since the time they forgot to respect things sacred. Until finally the earth was covered in enough toxin. The miracles of magic couldn't be displayed. Thus, witches from across the world are chased from their dwellings. They'd been forced to choose to throw away their magic and live as humans, or live in hiding in remote areas where the toxin of humans didn't reach. In that sense, Rockenjima, with its population of only a few dozen humans, was extremely favorable for witches. A good explanation of why magic isn't visible, if denying magic makes it weaker. Even more favorable was the existence of the ghost story about the witch who lived in the Rockenjima forest. Not only is there a myth that magic is real, but there's very few people around to deny it. That's good. Okay, that makes sense. In other words, by permeating the island with the fear that a witch might exist, the magic-resisting toxin from the humans was weakened. A small population and room for them to acknowledge magical beings. In other words, minds that only weakly resisted magic. Only by existing in the valley where those two converge could a witch live in modern times. I see.
つまりその計算式によるならば、魔女が効率よく力を振るうにはいくつかのルールがあることになりますね。
Using this formula, we arrive at several rules for how a witch can use their power efficiently.
一つは演出。
First, presentation.
人間の仕業とは思えない殺人を演出し、オカルト的な装飾を施して。
Create a murder scene that couldn't conceivably have been done by humans. Decorate it in an occult way.
彼らに魔女の存在を強くアピールし、浸透させることによって、彼らは魔女の存在を信じるようになり、
Make it look very much like a witch exists and permeate people with fear to make them believe witches exist.
その結果、反魔法力が減少して、魔法力の分母の減少も図られる。
As a result, the anti-magic power in the denominator for our magical power will be decreased.
なるほど。第一の番の不気味な魔法陣の演出などはこれに当たるわけですか。
So that's why the creepy circles of the first Twilight were created. Yep.
そうよ、その通り。
Right, exactly. Not like Beatrice has an ego or anything.
毎回の第一の番のどぎつい演出はすべてそのためのものなのだ。
The gaudy scenes for the first Twilight in each game are all for that reason.
別に決してわらわが残酷なのが好きで面白半分でやっていた
It's
わけで
not
は
like
ないのだ。
I like being cruel or I'm doing it for fun or anything.
だとしたら先代様、
In that case, predecessor Sama,
今回のは失敗ですね。
you failed this time
殺
around.
し方が非常に地味でした。
You killed him in such a plain way.
ただのミステリーにしか見えません。
Doesn't look like anything more than a simple mystery.
ロノウェイに聞いていますが、前回や前々回のように遺体をもっと派手に損壊して、
I heard about last time and the time before that from
フ
Rosa.
ァンタジーに見せかけ、彼らに恐怖心を植え付けるべきでしたね。
You should have damaged the corpses more grotesquely like you did then, making it look more like a fantasy and instilling fear in those people. Well, about that.
毎回それでは芸がないと思ってな。
I thought it wouldn't be artful to do that each time, you see?
深く考えるでない。
Don't think too deeply on it, it's just a whim. Actually, it really had been a whim. After what Battler had said to her, she couldn't say it out loud anymore. But she really had decided her methods of killing based on mere whims. Would it be better to say she had half-heartedly let Ronove decide? After all, she left the closed rooms of this game's first twilight to him. But if she had a cruel idea, she would surely have explored the limits of atrocity even worse than in the previous game.
ローザとマリアの殺し方についても先代様は自重するようにおっしゃられましたが
Told me to show restraint when deciding Rosa and Maria's deaths too.
それも私たち魔女に利する行為ではありませんね
But that wasn't a course of action beneficial to us witches either, was it?
実際彼らは現時点では魔女が実在するなんてこれっぽっちも信じてません
By now, none of them believe one bit that a witch
フ
actually
ァンタ
exists.
ジーでなく完全にミステリーだと確信しています
They're totally sure it's a mystery and not a fantasy.
私たち魔女にとって失敗した展開です
This turn of events is a failure from a witch perspective.
先代様がどういうわけかぬるいやり方を繰り返したせいです
For some reason, you're doing things in a lukewarm way, predecessor-sama.
ああ、そのだな。
Like they say,
若いうちの苦労は買ってでもしろと言うではないか。
Beatrice, your argument has so many holes in it. Oh my god. Like they say, the things you learn when you're young will definitely help you out in the future.
先代からそなたへのこれは試練である。
It's a test passed on from my predecessor to you. Are you fucking serious, Beatrice? That doesn't even make sense.
慎んで挑むがよいぞ。
Take it with respect, Beatrice is throwing out some really random shit and hoping it sticks. Yeah, sure. Beato tried to laugh heartily, but it was obviously the fake laugh of someone trying to cover something up. And the new witch shrugged with a sigh.
この段階から演出によって反魔法力を減ずるのは多分手遅れでしょうね
At this rate, it's probably too late to create a scene and reduce the anti-magic
と
power.
なればもう一つの手
In that case, there's another move.
人間の分散が良いでしょう
Getting the humans to split up should work.
それが最も効果的であろう
It's
ぞ。
probably the most effective
人
way.
間の人数が少なければ少ないほど
The
分
smaller
母
the
の
number of
数は
humans,
減るわけだ
the。more the denominator shrinks.
その結果、魔法力はてきめんとなる。
As a result, the magical power functions
つ
instantaneously.
まり、この籠城状態をいかに崩して少人数に分散させるかが
It begins from one point, how to destroy this
ここからのポイン
barricade
トとなるわけだね。
situation and have them split up into small groups.
しかし、彼らはもはや用心深い。
However, they're already very cautious.
容易には籠城を崩せぬぞ。
The barricade won't be destroyed easily, right? I mean, it's usually destroyed really easy by like a letter.
前々回の金蔵の書斎での籠城、前回の客間での籠城。いず
Both the
れも
barricade
手
in
強かっ
Kinzo's
た。
study 2 games ago and the barricade in the parlor last time were rather
ましてや
stubborn.
今回は老快な大人勢がほとんど残った状態での籠城と
Furthermore,
なっ
most
て
of
お
the
る。
cunning adults still remain this time.
状況はこれまで以上に困難であるぞ。
Situation's more difficult than the ones before it,
そ
understand?
なたが望むなら特別に助言を与えてや
You
っても
wish
よ
I
い
could
の
give you some
だがな。
advice. In a closed circle, when the first murder case occurs, the survivors always hole up, gathering together to observe each other and ensure their safety. Funnily enough, not only do mystery authors and murder culprits worry about how to break the situation apart, but so do witches who supposedly exist at the other end of the spectrum. For a while, the new witch poked her cheek with her pointer finger, and after acting as though she was planning something, she spoke.
いいえ結構です
Nope, I'm fine.
試練ですから
After all, it's a test.
先代様の手は借りません
I won't borrow your moves.
そうか
Really?
あしかしだな。籠城を崩
It
すのはな
it
か
will
な
be
かに
difficult
難
to
しい
defeat this
ぞ。
barricade, right?
すでに手は打ってあります
I've already made my move.
きっと引っかかるはずです
And I'm pretty sure it's gonna work.
頭のいいやつならむしろ必
And
ず
it'll definitely work on someone smart.
そうか。
Is that so?
そなたは優秀である
You
な。
really are excellent.
手のかからぬ弟子で、わらわは嬉しいぞ。
I'm pleased to see my disciple won't be causing me much trouble.
私、人に聞く前に自分で勉強するがモットーなので。
Well, my motto is to study things myself before asking other
そ
people.
れでは失礼します。
And if you'll excuse
獲
me,
物がのこのこと誘い出されるのを待たねばなりませんので。
I have to wait for my prey to get lured out.
うん。それでは、しっかりな。
Well, handle it with care. As the new witch lowered her head, her face blank, she turned into gold butterflies and vanished. Beato didn't look happy at all. She seemed to be lonely because of how little she was being relied on.
どいつもこいつも。
Not one of them gives a fig for
わらわ
me.
のことなど構いもせぬ。
Well, it's probably the same for you and your previous teacher, what with the part where you, like, murdered her 5 minutes ago?
魔女見習いめ。天狗になりよって。
You witch apprentice is acting so smart.
今に手痛いミスをして泣き言を言うに違いな
I'll
い
bet
ぞ。
she makes some painful mistake and starts crying. I'm not totally sure about that, Beatrice. I'm not sure about that at all.
その時こそようやくわらわの偉大さを理解し、教えを請おうとするに違いないのだ。
Without a doubt, she'll finally realize my greatness and beg me to teach her.
それまでわらわは高みの見物よ。
Till then, I'll watch from on high. I think this is not meta Beatrice, and this is regular Beatrice. I think? I'm not quite sure. She laughed loudly on the outside, but a laugh no one can hear is completely pointless. Beato gave up and quickly stopped laughing. Ronove chose that time to show himself. Oh, okay.
失礼いたします。お嬢
Excuse me,
様、
milady.
バトラ様との第2の番のゲームが終了いたしました。
The game of the second Twilight with Battler Sama has ended. Or I guess they all become meta characters as they become witches? Alright. I
そう
see.
か。ご苦労であ。守備はどうであったか。
What was the result?
申し訳ございません。
My sincere
リ
apologies.
ザインさせていただきました。
I was forced to
バト
resign.
ラ様のローザがマリアを考察、その後に自己死
By
は
saying in red that both deaths were
赤に
homicides.
て両名他殺で切り返したのですが、
I made Battler revise his claim of Rosa strangled Maria to death and died in
エ
an
ヴァを主
accident.
犯に据えられた一連の指し手を切り返せませんで
Yeah,
した。
that should be really a straightforward one. I couldn't repel his chain of moves, placing Ava as the principal offender.
エヴァは秀吉にずっと看病されて部屋で寝ていたであろうが。
In her room the whole time as Hideyoshi cared for her?
秀吉も共犯で、両名でアリバイを作った可能性を提示されました。
He put forth the possibility that Hideyoshi was an accomplice and the two worked together to create an alibi. Yeah, that's gonna be your defeat, Beatrice.
秀吉まで疑うか。
You even suspect Hideyoshi? Why not? They have motive, all the gold in the world.
殺害時には客室にいたと赤にて叩き切ってやればよいではないか。
Couldn't you have struck back by saying he was in the guest room at the time of the murder?
それも考えましたが、いずれにせよ、数手先でいくつかの大駒を奪われてしまうかもしれません。
I thought of it, but multiple important pieces might have been taken several moves
それ
later.
に、この手が新しきベアトリーチェ様が撃たれた布石の可能性もありますの
And
で、
because, well, this move might be connected to the new Beatrice-sama's
それ
strategy.
を尊重することといたしまし
I
た。
acted out of respect to her.
申し訳ありません。
My apologies.
布石か。
Strategy, you
あや
say?
つ頭が切れるようだからの。
Her mind does seem to be sharp.
好きにさせておくがよい。
We can let her do as she pleases.
どこまでやれるか見ものだ。
It'll be a show to see how far she can go.
そうおっしゃると思いました。
I'm curious if the not the witch I'm curious if the post game and the pre-game for the next arc are going to include Ava
弟子が
Beatrice.
可愛くないの。
余計なお世話だ。
See, the uncuteness of your disciple has left you in a bad mood. That's none of your business. She's not cute.
ここからの籠城をどう崩していくつも
I
り
wonder
な
how
の
that one plans to destroy the barricade going forward. I'm curious, yeah, I'm definitely curious what the post-game and pre-game are going to look like here. Is Ava going to be involved in the pre-game and become aware of the metagame with Battler, or is she just going to be sitting there as a in-universe character, perhaps a consistent in-universe character who might start as Beatrice in Act 4? That's kind of what I'm interested in, rather than how 3 resolves right now. Is what they're going to do with Ava as Beatrice? Like, is it just for one arc?
わ
I'm
らはも
genuinely
じっくり
curious.
拝見させてもらうとするぞ。
I'll keep a close eye on her. Oh,
ああ。それで、バトラの機嫌の方は
How was
どうなの
Battler's
か？
mood?
落ち着いておられるように見えました。
It appears as though he calmed himself down.
やはりお嬢様が相手でないと盛り上がらないとおっしゃっておいででしたよ。
He did say that he couldn't get fired up after all without you as his opponent.
そうか。そうであろう、そうであろ
Really
う。
well. That's no surprise. No surprise at all.
第4の番以降は、やはりわらわが復帰しないと、バトラも寂しかろうな。
If I don't return for the fourth Twilight and after, Battler will probably be lonely himself.
それでは私はこれで失礼させていただき、美味しいクッキーを焼かねばなりません。
I need to bake some delicious cookies. Speaking of cookies,
せ
delicious.
めてお嬢様とバトラ様のお話が弾みますように。
I must at least enliven the discussion between you and Battler Sama, my lady.
うん。あいつ、お前のクッキーボリボリ食ってたな。
That guy really was munching your cookies, wasn't he? They're delicious if they're
やはり
good.
男の子だからお腹が空くのであろう。
It's no surprise a boy can eat so much.
多めに焼いてやれ。
Make a lot of them.
かしこまりました。
Certainly.
クッキーでテーブルを埋めてご覧に入れまし
I'll
ょう。
make enough cookies to bury the table.
それが良いぞ。
That's a lot of work, damn. Sounds great. You don't have any cookies on hand aside from awful protein cookies? That's unfortunate, my friend.
なんだよ。どうした？
You do have salsa, though? That's not too bad. I made some delicious peanut butter cookies a couple days ago. Made about 100 of them. So I got cookies to spare for a while. What's going on?
話ってなんだ？
What did you want to talk about? Kyrie called Rudolph out into the corridor. It was obvious she wanted to talk about something that she didn't want the others to hear.
あのね、 私、
Yeah?
表へ出たいの。
I want to go outside. And there's the clock. Tick, tick, tick. It's 1 in the afternoon.
Certainly, 確かにわずかばかりの朝食では体が持たないが。
Certainly, the body cannot last with nothing more than a small breakfast, but did they already leave? Did they just leave? Scene end, they left? Alright, with that mysterious announcement by Kyrie to Rudolph about wanting to go outside, and suddenly swapping into crows, I think we're gonna have to stop things here, but I'd really like to know where Kyrie's going and if she's gonna be the next sacrifice. After all, Rudolph and Kyrie split up, or even Kyrie by herself, an easy target for the witch. But we're gonna have to find that one out next time.